was right about the shoe. The shoe was not the same in the picture shown in court as the shoe pulled from the evidence bag by Trooper Bukake.
And you mentioned you're at the hospital. There was a sneaker. One.
Yes.
Bukake! Bukake!
Woo! Good evening, friends. This should be fun. Yeah, we've got a special edition of the Glare today. What's up, Mazza? Rat House. I see you guys. It's great to see all my homies in here. And anyone I missed, I apologize. I think I saw Sleuthy in here too. Yeah, so I'm gonna have Grant Smith Ellis join me. I don't know if any of you follow Grant on Twitter or X, as it were, but he has been very busy, and there's a lot going on there, and I don't have a grasp on it, but I am invested, even though I don't understand it. I'm going to do my best to understand it now because I'm going to have him personally explain it to me. So mostly, once I bring Grant on here, this is mostly going to be Grant's show. I'm only going to act as someone to control as much of the information as it comes in. That's the role I'm going to be playing here for the most part. Okay. I still reserve the ownership, I still reserve the ownership of the show, whereas I reserve the right to tell anyone and everyone to fuck off whenever I feel like it. But hopefully there's no reason to do that. Linda just gifted 5 memberships, people. Oh my God. And I'm very excited, folks. I'm very excited because, yes, this weekend, this very weekend coming up, this week is flying by towards this weekend where I will be in Boston there to support my man, Aiden Carney, Turtle Boy, Mr. Media, as he argues this motion, or as the mighty Bettero will be arguing the motion to disqualify Specialist Appointed Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove. Southie Sally just gifted 5 memberships. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Thank you, Southie Sally. And so people, I'm not going to keep you waiting too long. So without any further ado, Grant Smith Ellis, everyone. Grant, it's great to see you, buddy.
How are you? Well,
my applause is so much better than calling all beings, bro. Like, it's just fucking, like, let's just get real. You know what I mean?
can't say I've heard theirs, but I like yours.
I love it. What's going on? Shots fired, my man, already. How we doing?
Good. Not much going on. Had a relaxing day. Laid out on a beach chair in the snow. Didn't think about much. You know, just regular day.
Okay. So instead of catching some sun, you were catching some snow. Got it.
Yeah, I heard your Tickle Me Elmo doll got lost in the mail. I was very sad. I went looking for another one. It didn't work out. I felt terrible.
Sorry about that. I'm very sorry about that. So yeah, man, I'm really glad you're here. I think I think to a lot of people this is a surprise, but it's not. I mean, I feel like this was bound to happen at some point. We've always gotten along. You know, we've had choice words to say about each other, but we've always gotten along. Right?
We're a good microcosm of how even at the height of the tension, I saw something in you and you saw something in me, and you were like, he'll come around. And I was like, maybe he'll come around. And then we met somewhere in the whatever the fuck this is.
Definitely not the middle, because I haven't budged.
I'm not saying you budged. I think I'm more saying I came around on some of the procedural due process violations. And maybe, Will, to be fair to you, you were like, what the fuck? These procedural due process violations, I didn't know about them. Grant's onto something.
No, yes, there's definitely, yeah, because like you've been stating some stuff lately where people have been very interested. You've been getting a lot more people's attention with your coverage of these developments, as it were, with both the Karen Reed and Aiden Carney Turtle Boy cases. So now, and yeah, and I'm really glad you're here too, because like, I mean, like this isn't like just some like way to like, you're not just using me to like make your mom mad, right? Because you know she would be very disappointed in you for being on the show on a friendly basis.
Yeah, no, if anything, I think the people like Liz Proctor's uncle, who has been coming over my house for a year and to get close to my mom, I think they're kind of angry, but it has nothing to do with me.
To get close to your mom? Like, what do you mean to get close to your mom?
What do you mean?
Like,
he would come over and hang out on Friday nights. He's in the state police. He's some weird dude. I don't really like him.
That is a shitty situation to be in, dude. I would feel uncomfortable if somebody related in any way, shape, or form to Michael Proctor was coming over to my house on Friday nights, hanging out with my mom. It would fucking be weird.
I would just shit talk Brian Tully to him and see his reaction. And then I realized he was like a seasoned interrogator because he just kept the stone face. And I was like, fuck Brian Tully.
I can't believe this happens. This happens at your house.
Well, yeah, I mean, Montel Williams gave me my first GameCube when I was like 10. So like my whole life has been a theater of the absurd. I met President Trump when I was like in high school, and like he was sitting with my grandfather in a ballroom, and I was like, hello, Mr. Trump. And he was like, your grandfather's a very nice man. I don't know. It was a very strange situation.
He's a very nice man, but I'm better. I'm a way better man. Okay.
Well, he said it. They had a 3-hour conversation about golf and the fact that they're good parents. They were like, I like being a grandfather. And my grampy was like, I like playing golf. And President Trump was like, you're a good man. Like, fuck the Democrats. And grampy was like, yeah, fuck them.
Okay. All right. So,
This, by the way, this comes back to President Trump because this firm we're going to talk about did the Russia hoax.
okay, start from the beginning. All right, like paint the picture like nobody has ever heard of. Just start from the Tully. We know that Tully just was interrogated by, the interview with Internal Affairs has just been released with Brian Tully.
Yep.
Start
So,
there.
In the beginning, there were Adam and Eve, and then a bunch of shit happened, and then we jump forward to Brian Tully. Okay,
Right
now
there we go.
Brian Tully was some guy. He was a state police officer who was in charge of the Norfolk State Police unit that was assigned to the Sandra Birchmore case, the Karen Reed case, the Turtle Boy cases. They are the Michael Morrissey's guys, and this unit. To say that they have been
real quick. Sorry to cut you off. I just don't want to lose this thought because I've noticed covering these Karen Reed anyway, the last 2 years, the very few public appearances that you see, like where you see Michael Morrissey, you see almost every time Brian Tully right next to him. I get the vibe that Brian Tully is like totally Michael Morrissey's right hand, his dude, his henchman, his number two.
Other way around. I heard from my contacts in state government that it's not Michael Morrissey, it's the people around him. It's he's a paper tiger. The real power is Tully. Was Tully.
How does that work?
He was there. The state police unit is a permanent detail to the Norfolk DA, which means they're longer than the DAs. The DAs rotate every election. That unit was there forever.
So basically, the MSP goes into the DA's office and says, "This is what we're going to be doing, and you need to toe the line."
You ever get the sense that Adam Lally was just getting bitched around? Yeah, he was.
Well, for sure, but I thought that was coming from Morrissey.
No, other way around. It was an inverted hierarchy. State police answer only to God.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was just always under the impression that the state police, is on paper the state police answers to the DA, no?
No, yeah, on paper. But what I think happens is like before the DA gets there, the state police help him what's called bundle. Do you know what bundling is in politics?
No.
So you can only raise $2,400 per person in Massachusetts for each campaign you donate to. So you need bundlers. Bundlers go out and raise the max from each individual contributor. They're called a bundler. So bundlers are great to have in politics. You know who's a great bundler? The state police.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you're up in Quincy and you have a lot of money and you want Michael Morrissey to be elected, you don't give it to Michael Morrissey directly. You can't use straw donors. You go to the state police and you make sure that Michael Morrissey gets elected. Then you own him.
That makes sense.
I know.
Yep. The answer to 99 out of 100 questions is always money. Okay. So, all right. Continue. Sorry. Tully. IA. Karen Reed.
Yes, we're going to do this. I have to get my pin. Hold on. I need a certain amount of protection to be able to talk about this. You know what I'm saying? So I have a pin.
Okay.
I forgot to put it on before we started.
What type of protection are we talking about here?
Oh, it's the Virgin Mother.
Okay.
So you got
my grandmother would be doing the same thing. It's totally no judgment at all.
The Catholic people understand. All right, so you put the Virgin Mother on. There we go. We're ready to go. Okay, so this Brian Tully report is really interesting because Brian Tully, as you know, was subject to internal affairs discipline in November of 2024. I want to say November 19, 2024. He was demoted to detective lieutenant. And then on November 24, 2024, he was oddly like re-promoted again. He went from like detective lieutenant to lieutenant back to detective lieutenant. We never really found out what that was all about. Like with the media, the public, we only kind of knew like he got like weirdly punished for not supervising Michael Proctor. Well, we finally get the IA report, and it was way worse than anyone imagined. I don't know if folks understand. On February 1st, 2024, Michael Proctor was told that him and Yuri Buchanan, by the way, the last witnesses in the John O'Keefe and Karen Reed grand jury.
Are you reading this?
No, it's memorized.
Okay, please go on. Okay.
Yeah. So the last witnesses were supposed to be Yuri Buchanan and Michael Proctor for 2.5 hours each. Michael Proctor preps and gets ready and goes in. This is all in the Tully IA report, thinking he's going to be asked about Karen Reed questions and John O'Keefe questions. The first question from Levy is, can you tell me a little bit about this text message between you, your mom, and your sister? Proctor loses his mind, is stuck there for 6.5 hours. The minute Proctor gets out of the federal grand jury, he goes home. Liz Proctor, his loving wife, who went to high school with me, but I never knew her. Apparently, she was a grade above me. She's not there. So Tully and John Fanning, mind you, we find out John Fanning is the executive officer of this unit. He was Tully's right-hand man for like 19 years. That ties into Sandra Birchmore. We'll come back to that later. Tully and Fanning, in their infinite wisdom, apparently, this is their version. They think Michael Proctor is going to unalive himself. So they go over there and they immediately start questioning him. Tully admits this about what he talked about at the grand jury for 6.5 hours. They were, hey, Ray, how you doing, my dear friend? You are a super towel. They are getting, they're interrogating Proctor. It's like 6:30 p.m. on February 1st, 2024. They do it for like an hour and a half. They're clearly fucking worried about what he talked about. Okay. Now, for some reason, these two cops, Tully and Fanning, who were just saying they were worried this man was going to unalive himself, then just leave him there with his gun, his service weapon, alone, and just leave. All right. Because
say that. Okay. Say that part, all that part one more time. That last part about like.
So while Tully and Fanning, who were Michael Proctor's bosses, were at Michael Proctor's house at night after Proctor spent 6.5 hours at the federal grand jury, they spent an hour and a half with him interrogating him about what he talked about. And then they leave.
So Tully and Fanning interrogated Proctor
about what he got asked about at the grand jury.
Wow. Okay.
Now, again, it wasn't 2.5 hours, and it wasn't about just Karen Reed. It was 6.5 hours about Proctor's text. But this is not the end of the story. That's weird enough. A month later, March 7th, March 6th to be exact, 2024, Laura McLaughlin comes to Brian Tully and is like, if you want to do your report about Proctor and what his text said about Karen, you have to sign an NDA. And the NDA is from the federal government. And the weirdest part of the Tully IA report is the IA investigator is like, who signed this NDA from the DOJ? And Tully's like, I don't know. Fuck yeah, you don't know, motherfucker. It was clearly Deutsch. And so
what about you went into something about somebody with a service weapon and
Proctor. So we'll get to that. Fanning, in his IA interview, Tully admits it. He's like, we went over there to ask him what he was asked about at the grand jury. Fanning's like, we weren't asking him what he was asked about at the grand jury. We thought he was going to unalive himself, so we were checking on him.
Oh, so really? Two different stories. So two different stories.
And then it's also like, oh, really, John Fanning? You went over there because you thought he was going to unalive himself. You didn't section him, and you left him there with a service weapon. How much liability do you take on a daily basis, John Fanning? Do you just walk around doing stupid things? Because it certainly seems that way.
Okay, so John Fanning is saying that they went over to Proctor's house because Proctor's threatening to kill himself.
No, they thought he was going to. No, there was never any threats about that.
There was never any threat. They just thought. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's when Tully gets over there, right? But Tully tells the IA committee that they went over there to ask him about his grand jury testimony.
Yeah, and then the funniest part of Fanning's...
Why would he admit to that? Because grand jury testimony is supposed to be...
No, the funniest
You're supposed to not talk about that, right?
No, that's not right. You're only not supposed to talk about it with other people who are going before the grand jury. Proctor couldn't talk about it with Yuri, but John Fanning and Tully weren't on any list as far as they knew. There's nothing. In fact, the IA investigator at one point is like, But Lieutenant Fanning, you know that there's no rule against Mr. Proctor talking to you about his testimony. And then Fanning's like, oh yeah, I knew it wasn't a rule, but and then there's like 7 lines where he stumbles over himself and he's like, I just, I didn't know if I shouldn't break the rule or if I should ask him. So I didn't ask him, and I didn't want him to tell me, but sometimes he kind of told me without me asking. And then I learned stuff and I don't know what's going on. And he was just like an idiot. That's in the transcript. He's just stumbling over his words for like a page.
Okay. And so
this is weird. That whole thing is weird, but it doesn't end there because the NDA thing ties in. By the way, I think Laura McLaughlin was secretly working with the feds the whole time, and this is why. So March 6, 2024, Brian Tully gets an NDA.
So you think that Laura McLaughlin from the DA's office was a grass for the feds?
And it makes perfect sense because you think she liked getting bossed around? No. You think she liked how they treated women? No. She's a fucking boss. So every time I went to court, that woman looked like she'd seen a ghost. Every day she was like horrified at these men. She hated them. I could tell. But she's a lawyer. So I was like, oh, bro, when I read this part, I'm telling you, when I read this part,
I mean, everybody hates them.
Right, but Laura McLaughlin had to fake it, and she really couldn't fake it. Like, she really couldn't. She would go in there, and she was just white as a ghost. And I was like, why are you white as a ghost? You're a prosecutor. You do this all the time. Oh, I see now. So McLaughlin contacts Tully and is like, you have to sign this NDA. Tully takes it to Colonel Mawn, M-A-W-N, and then 2 other people in the chain of command at GHQ in Framingham. They sign it too. Tully then goes into a room with Laura McLaughlin, who won't let him touch the fucking documents. It says in the interview with Tully, she would not let me touch the documents. She was instructed to read me portions of them.
Wow.
So now this is important because she reads him like snippets.
Right.
And all Tully gets from her is what Proctor said about Karen, just enough to write his IA report. He gets nothing else. He can't touch the documents. Almost like they were worried he was going to look through it and tip Proctor off. Now, remember 2 important things. November 2023, Josh Levy and Adam Deutsch, who are working with Karen Reed at that point as a cooperating witness, laid an obstruction trap for Jen McCabe. How do we know this? Aiden texted Lindsay on November 28, 2023 at 18:42 p.m. Eastern specifically. And Aiden said that Levy wants to compare what Jen McCabe and the DA give to the feds against what the feds have. We know that the feds had Jen McCabe's phone records from February of 2022 through April of 2022. Now, I think they did the same thing to Proctor. What was going on and what makes sense of the NDA Tully signed and the weird approach to Proctor and the fact that John Fanning never got to learn about these text messages is in July of 2025, Michael Proctor told the judge in the Miles King case and the Giovanni Dos Santos case and the Brian Walsh case that he got rid of his old phone in November of 2024 and that his new phone auto deletes every 30 days. That is not true. 3 months later,
we're talking about Tully, right?
No, Proctor.
Proctor's phone. Right.
Proctor claimed his old phone was deleted.
That's right, and it just deletes itself every 30 days or something.
Yes,
like
and
that.
then 3 months later, 3 months later, someone drops 13 years of Proctor's phone records on the Norfolk DA, forcing them to turn those records over under Rule 14 to Brian Walsh and Giovanni Dos Santos and everything. You want to know what's a little weird? 1 week after Walsh got those records, he got stabbed in jail. You want to know what's weirder? He then didn't call Proctor for his defense at trial. You want to know what's even weirder? Some of the lawyers around Giovanni Dos Santos and Miles King are all connected to Hank Brennan. In particular, Rosemary Scapiccio and Joe Krowski, which means the only lawyers who have access to Michael Proctor's phone are Tim Bradel and Mark Betterow. By God, protect Tim Bradel and Mark Betterow. You don't understand.
Huh.
They're going to come for them. They're going to take those fuckers out. And I like Bradel. Betterow still has me blocked.
Slow down.
He has me blocked. So I want him to unblock me.
Okay. Because now, listen, the people in the chat and I'm not gonna lie, like me too. Like listening to you tell this stuff is like watching the movie JFK, and I had to watch that movie 4 times before I understood it. You know what I mean? So there's a lot. Now, I have to be responsible and tell my chat to take what you say with a grain of salt, unless you're showing fucking receipts with a lot of the things you're saying, because you are making a lot of speculations here, which is fine, just as long as people know, Grant speculates a lot. Just understand that.
That's a fair disclaimer. And if you want to follow along, what we're talking about now is the Brian Tully IA report. So you can follow along with the Tully interview or the Fanning interview. If I'm not talking about what they actually say, I'll tell you that. So we're going in and out of my opinion and what they said. So.
Yeah, right on. Okay. Now, the stuff on X, let me pull that up, because you trip me out, dude, because you will repost. Every post is a repost of another post of your own, as if you're following up, I guess. So hold on here. So I don't know where to start, but I mean, just today alone, you posted a lot. So there was some stuff that, I mean,
can I make?
And I'm imagining a lot of this stuff is in response to. Sure.
Oh, sorry. Can I just make one final point about the Tully IA report? So,
please.
The whole point of the that's so interesting is, it's almost like the reason Tully had to sign an NDA and Laura McLaughlin had to read him things was because Proctor was being set up to lie like a year later about his phone. The DOJ had his phone the whole time. They just only wanted him to think he had parts of it, so he would withhold more.
You see this shit in the movies. Proctor's nobody in all this, except just the stupid idiot that was texting dumb shit. In my opinion, he's the guy that falls on his sword.
Low hanging fruit. You read my mind. Low hanging fruit.
Right.
They give up the little fish.
You see this shit in the movies. You know what I mean? You get it. You like, who better for the media frenzy and for the people who are just, we want justice and we want blood, than the guy who called Karen Reed a cunt and said those comments about her health. And, who better? So,
and this
to
firm,
me, I'm like,
this firm we're going to talk about, Will, there's a good chance all of this, people are going to say, Grant, there's no way that someone ran a Truman Show operation on Karen and Aiden. They did, and I have the receipts. And Will,
what do you mean a Truman Show type of operation with Karen and Aiden? What do you mean?
All right, so you're going to bring up the posts and we can talk about them. But you remember the firm that did the audit of the Canton Police in like April of 2025?
I remember there was a firm that did the audit on the Canton Police in 2025.
All right, so I think we all kind of anyone who was reading that audit, you wanted to know what the firm was. So I don't think any of us didn't look into it. I just wanted to know what the fuck they were. It's called Five Stones Intelligence. So I was mostly interested in the Sandra Birchmore part on pages 99 to 102, because John Fanning, I think, covered up Sandra Birchmore's murder. But anyway, that audit was done by Five Stones Intelligence. Now, if you just looked them up, you would see they were involved with trying to do the Russiagate hoax on President Trump, which is a little weird. Why is this audit firm working on the Canton Police also connected? And I don't know if you know what Russiagate was, but President Trump had a guy working for his campaign named Carter Page, and Carter Page worked for the CIA and had permission to talk to Russians. But these two FBI agents, Lisa Page and Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, they went to the FISA court, which is a secret court that approves spying on Americans. And they told that court that Carter Page was not a CIA agent. Why is that a big deal? Because then records came out showing that the two FBI agents went to the CIA and were like, hey, is this guy a CIA agent? Is that why he's talking to Russians? The CIA is like, yeah. The FBI manipulated the email from the CIA and told the FISA court, this guy's not a CIA agent. He's just talking to Russians. We need to spy on President Trump. That's this firm, the Steele dossier.
Okay.
I'm not kidding you.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, that's Canton Police seems kind of small potatoes in comparison, no?
Yeah, so I'm thinking like why so I'll tell you what happened this past week. I'm starting to like look into like Lily the koala, Lily the kangaroo and the koala and like these people who like just shouldn't really be involved in this case but are, and it didn't make sense to me. And you know me, Will, like
But they're not. They're just idiots. Like,
well, hold on. Let me get there.
They're just retarded idiots, dude.
Will, I don't like that. Well, can we? I have autism.
All right. I will respect that. But understand that I would never use that word to describe
that
someone.
Way. You're using it as stupid.
I'm using it as for the willfully ignorant is what I use that term to describe. Only.
I'm cool with that.
So
as long as you don't mean it to like degrade, like Kate Peter, uses
never,
it to degrade
no,
okay.
No, never.
Right.
No, I actually find a lot of what you're able to do fucking fascinating. I can't do what you do at all. Like, yeah. So trust me, I have respect for you. I do.
No, not a problem. No, and I always say when
jokes.
When people from Boston use that word, I do not get offended. But I'm so used to Kate Peter saying it recently with that context, I'm just a little on edge. But let's get back to the koala, because I was just interested in why Lily was around, why the koala was around. They didn't seem like free Karen Reed people. No way. Bullshit. So I wanted to figure it out. And when I love Sherlock Holmes. I love a puzzle. So give me a fucking puzzle. Give me anything. My mind rebels at stagnation. I had to figure it out. All right, for everything, for Aiden, for Karen, for Justice. I knew it was fake. I needed to figure out what they were doing. So I'm just kind of prodding, you see how I do my reporting. Like, why does this person say this on a space? Like, why does this person say this? Like, why are these people connected? Always trying to tease out that overlapping ring of connections. So I found, this.
You found something.
Oh yeah, and normally, I don't just like run around. I found something.
Because I mean, right now my mind is that these are just morons on the internet, and Grant is like making them to be something that they don't even like. There's no need, because they're just morons on the internet who just won't shut up, and they just want attention, and that's how I look at them. But you are saying that they are what, plants?
Yeah, and I don't even think they're the main player. Sean on the golf, I think, is the main player. And listen, let's not be disrespectful to Sean, okay? Because what I'm about to describe to you, you cannot talk to me right now. I don't know who you are. I'm a towel. So my point is, the way that it kind of plays out is that this firm is called Five Stones Intelligence. It's run by a guy named David Tinsley. And I'm reading this article in the Telegraph from 2022 about something called the Serious Fraud Office in the United Kingdom. And, I'm like, what is this? What is this article about this former DEA agent? No, absolutely. I'm going to block this number. I swear to God, don't make me block you. Don't make me do it. I'm blocking them.
Block them.
Done. Okay, so David Tinsley, a former DEA agent who worked on the Columbia desk for a long time. We're talking late 90s, early 2000s. He worked there till 2008 when he left to form Five Stones Intelligence. Okay. Now, David Tinsley is written about extensively in this Telegraph article. And you know what it says? It says that this man runs operations that are border on unethical. That was the Telegraph's wording. It may have been stronger, wherein they get around criminal defendants and run highly targeted operations to get them to plead guilty before trial. I'm not kidding you. It's verbatim in the article.
Say that one more time. The Telegraph article states that this firm,
it says
specifically has engaged in
pressuring criminal defendants with borderline, like extremely unethical tactics. We're talking like almost illegal. The Telegraph accuses them of illegal conduct to pressure criminal defendants. Now, what's fascinating about the Telegraph article, and this is high level, so it's important to understand, the Telegraph article is about this like Middle Eastern.
How credible is the Telegraph as
the most possible? It's literally like one of the most credible English newspapers. It's the one of the top. It's not like a tabloid. It's the Telegraph. It's a daily It's like the Telegraph.
And you posted this article on Twitter?
The full article. You can read this along with us. You're going to hear me summarize it, because if you read the whole thing, like, you'd understand it, but it would take you like 30 minutes. So I'll just tell you, it's a long form investigative piece. So the article is about a Middle Eastern oil company that was run by this like weird group of guys that the US wanted to prosecute. However, the guys lived in England. So what's called the Serious Fraud Office, the SFO of the British government, got into a jurisdictional fight with the US over whether these guys should be tried in London or the US. This firm, wait till you hear this, Five Stones Intelligence, according to the article, worked with the Serious Fraud Office. They said they were helping them. They sabotaged the prosecution so that the guys could be brought back to the US and forced to plead guilty here. Now, you might say, Grant, there's no way you then went into the federal contractor database for this company and found...
There's no way you went into the federal contract database for this company.
I did, and I found $130 million of contracts in 10 years. Now, you might be saying, Grant, that's like very interesting. Why does this relate to Karen Reed? Well, El Jefe, not you, Sean on the Gulf. Guess where he was stationed in the DEA? The Columbia desk.
The Columbia desk, right.
Under David Tinsley's command.
So you're under David Tinsley's command.
And David Tinsley resigned in 2008. Sean got his DUI in 2010, left the DEA in 2011, and has been working for him ever since. He is Sean's five guys. It's three women and two guys who run Five Stones Intelligence.
Bro, now so you're saying that this motherfucker's been speaking in code this whole time, saying five guys, and what he meant was Five Stones.
And the actual operation was to pressure Karen to plead guilty before trial. It failed. Now they're on to Aiden. It's well funded.
Holy Jesus. 1 second, Grant. It's got to be done.
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad.
How dare you?
I love it. Okay, so you're muted. You're muted.
I'm back. Guess who their biggest fish was?
Who was their biggest fish?
Let me get you the name. It was. Hold on. It was. All right, hold on. This is a really good one because I think it ties into Sanchez.
So Turtle Boy's in the chat, as well as Larry, the DUI guy. Welcome, guy.
Oh, Larry represented Bo, Kate's friend. I always thought that was a little weird. That guy who used to troll at the trial.
Dude, but I mean, client's a client, bro. Like, that's one thing I've learned fucking covering all this shit. Client's a client, bro. Like, Kevin Reddington's my man, bro. I don't give a fuck what anybody says about him. I love that guy.
Kevin Reddington, who represents Jen McCabe and also represented Paula Prado's father. I think he
couldn't give a fuck. I love that guy.
Yeah, I don't know. But all right, so there's Orlando Sanchez Kristen Chaco. Okay, he was a member of the Cali cartel. He was caught in Colombia. Sean was an agent on the ground. They brought him to Peru and flew him out of Peru on a Bombardier 700 jet in one of the most epic operations in DEA history. Tinsley ran the op. Sean was on the ground. In theater is what it's called. So that's when they're at the DEA. Okay. Then they both go on to Five Stones. It's an 100 million plus operation. Who brought them in? I'm not really sure. It seems like the kind of thing like Morrissey, he would like email himself weird articles from time to time. Like, have you been seeing these leaks that Kyle Sharkey has been sharing?
Yeah, a little bit. So
Morrissey would like hunt for emails and email them to like Lynn, what's her name? Beatty, his first assistant, and like David Traub. Okay, well, like I'm just saying, I think it's very possible that fucking Michael Morrissey read that article in May of 2022 when it was published and hired these guys. I think Marty Kraft and Kate Peter and all them like were subsidiaries. That was a small operation. The real people that targeted Karen and Aiden were, and by the way, this is incredibly inappropriate for them to do on domestic U.S. soil. These guys are basically an intelligence firm. Like they're all close to like the intelligence community. You cannot do that domestically. It's the worst thing we've ever seen, Will. It's a scandal. It was a scandal when they did it in the UK. But that's not a problem. If our guys are doing that in the UK, it's not a problem. It's a problem here. They cannot do it. It's a serious crisis. It's almost as bad as Watergate. It's going to be like, it's not just Aiden's case. It's not just Karen's case. This firm is operating domestically. It's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and it pressures criminal defendants by pretending to be their friends.
Stones.
Yes, they get close to them and all their friends, and they pressure them to plea before trial.
So you think that this is what? So you think that these guys are behind all of the grief that Karen Reed and Aiden are getting?
Every single person trying to divide Aiden and Karen right now probably ties to this firm in some way or another. Now, you want to hear the craziest fucking thing? They got a $40 million grant related to certified public accountants. Go look in the government database. $40 million to work and coordinate with certified public accountants in the counterintelligence context. Everything I'm saying can be verified with the stuff I posted on the Twitter. I went through the whole government database. I know how to look at these contracts. They're public, but
I don't.
So
nobody but you does.
I know. So, but I did, and I found everything I needed to find.
Okay. And you put, I mean, you've been tweeting the shit. Like, are these the receipts? If we go to your Twitter,
if you go to my Twitter, you will see everything that I just said, from the Telegraph article from May of 2022 through to the screenshots about the way this firm operates, through to its incorporation in a very specific area of Florida. Their CEO, like the guy, David Tinsley, is the like main guy, but there's another guy who lives in Tennessee. It is no, actually, David lives in Tennessee now.
It's not me.
No, it is not. I checked. So
yeah,
I thought Will was a mole. I had to screen him. I'm serious. I looked him right in the eye. I was like, David Tinsley.
I got nothing to hide.
So David Tinsley lives in Tennessee, and in Tennessee, it's there's this corporation that's registered, Five Stones Intelligence, and they made a mistake. Like, this is what I do. I went into the Tennessee corporate database. It's very fucking hard to read, but they in 2019 incorporated in a building in Alexandria, Virginia. I believe it's like 211 North. What is it? I have it right here. It's 211. I texted it to Sean to troll the fuck out of him. It's 211 North Union Street, Alexandria, Virginia. All right, bro. Spook Central. Like, that's not a slur. Spook means like operative.
Spy, right? Got it.
So that you look at that building. I don't want anyone to do like any research into any of this, but you look into that building, it's a fucking spook building. So, like, I'm telling you, you try to look at it on Google and you get the angle that's into the window and the fucking thing's blurred. Every other part of the building's fine, but the one angle that shows into the windows on the second floor is fucking blurred, just so you can't see into the windows. It's funny. But anyway, so like, it hides in plain sight. It's got a security gate. Like, they fucked up, and then they eventually moved their headquarters, ostensibly on paper, to this like firm in Northwest Washington, D.C. But that's just a cover. What I think this is, so Sean, in some texts I leaked, because then, by the way, this doesn't stop. I confronted Sean. I said, I have this. I know that you were on the DEA Columbia desk in the late 90s and early 2000s. I know David Tinsley was in charge of the unit. I know that your biggest fish was the man I just told you about with the middle name Sanchez. When did you meet David Tinsley for the first time? This motherfucker's like, I've never met David Tinsley in person. And then I was like, when did you speak to him for the first time? I don't know who David Tinsley is, he starts saying. So I start pushing, just gently.
Wait. So we're talking about Sean on the Gulf here, right?
Yeah, start interrogating him.
You start interrogating Sean on the Gulf. He first says never met him in person, and then he says after that he says never heard of him.
Yep.
Fascinating.
Yep. And then so I'll kind of take it. So I said, who is Grace Tinsley? Because I'm baiting this motherfucker. Like, I know he knows Dave Tinsley. So out of nowhere, I'm like, who is Grace Tinsley? As we're going back and forth today, he says Dave's wife. Motherfucker, you're on first name basis with Dave Tinsley. And by the way, Google Grace Tinsley. It doesn't exist. These people are well funded. They wipe their like surface web data. Google Grace Tinsley. She doesn't exist. You know how I found? No, you know how I found
somebody named Grace Tinsley.
No, if you Google Grace Tinsley, age 26 from Tennessee, you will not find her. Do you know how I found her? I grabbed their federal contracting records and took Dave Tinsley's home address and put it in Google. Guess what pops up? His 26-year-old wife, Grace Tinsley. So I go to Sean McDonough and I'm like, motherfucker, who's Grace Tinsley? The response to that, if you don't know Dave Tinsley, should be, who the fuck is Grace Tinsley? Not Dave's wife. So then I'm like, oh, I got this motherfucker. I'm pissed now. I'm like, you motherfucker.
Well, what was his response?
His response was Dave's wife. And then this is right after I had pulled the $130 million of federal contracts over 10 years. And then I say, that's a fuck ton of federal contracts. Jesus, you all have a lot of money. He says back, LOL. And I said, still easy work. Good challenge, though. And then I give the federal contract ID, PIID 47QR CA25DS520. Then I ask him if he prefers 95 South or Bycan Boulevard for his commute. And then he's like, wow, you're not that bright. Fifth Ave is my zone. And I was like, what about 211 North Union Street, Alexandria, Virginia? And he's like, I'm an Arlington, Virginia guy. And I'm like, you're a decent spook. I'm a better reporter. The Constitution lives to fight another day. So it goes. And then I was like, you owe taxes in Tennessee, by the way. Because when I pulled the Tennessee corporate record, his financial status was not good because they didn't pay taxes. So I was like, you should probably tell the dude out in Tennessee where you're registered to pay the taxes. So anyway, he was like, LOL, Tennessee, LOL. I was like, yeah, the firm is in bad standing.
This is still Sean. This is still Sean you're texting with.
Yep. And then he's like, me? And I'm like, your firm? Yes. I was like, it looks like Dave didn't pay the tax bill in Tennessee. Did you ever ask yourself, why the fuck is this guy talking to me so much? Yeah.
If he's a spook, you know what I mean? Like,
I knew what he was doing. I was baiting him. I never gave him anything. I was reeling him in. He thought he was playing me. I was playing him.
Okay, but why is he saying so much?
Because he's a fucking moron and thought I got recruited by the DOJ, which is true. But like, motherfucker, I don't have any allegiance to the CIA, bro. Like, what the fuck? Don't tell me this shit.
But if these guys are so fucking, professional,
he was saying, don't you understand? I'm like telling you I want to work with you, Grant. And I was like, fuck your mother.
Oh, so he's trying to I
don't want to get involved with the CIA. What the fuck? Okay. Those people are scary.
Yeah.
No, I was like, no, Sean. I told Kate Peter, no, I'm telling you, no, fuck off. But he's thinking, oh, this dude was recruited by the DOJ. He's going to be cool about it. Fuck your mother. I'm not going to be cool about it.
Okay.
I know please, I've done my research. Like, no, I turn that. I don't care if you have hundreds of millions, bro. I'd rather die on the cross. No. You get into that world, they blackmail you that you're theirs forever. I don't play that game. I earn this independence. Kill me, take it from me, but I'm not selling out.
Okay. All
so
right.
Anyway,
so I love
so
it.
anyway, so I'm like,
go fuck yourself, Sean.
So then I immediately go into, do you all understand you cannot operate domestically? Like I straight started because he had told me he was CIA in the past, like straight up on the phone. So I was like, you dumb motherfucker. And I was like, do you literally want another church committee hearing? That was when like when they did Watergate and they got in serious trouble for operating domestically, like spying on people, pressuring people. So I'm like, do you want another church committee hearing? And he's like, I'm not sure what you're going through, but this isn't helping. You should start praying the rosary. She helps, seriously. I don't pray. Well, I would if I have to, but I wear the Virgin Mother and I do the cross. And then I said, if you try that with the state auditor, she's going to eat you alive. And he was like, give her my number. And I was like, she doesn't call. The requests show up. And then you all can come to a very nice hearing on Beacon Hill. And he was like, keep dreaming. And I was like, the Cannabis Control Commission told me that. Please do ask them how it worked out for them. They made $7 billion for the state in 6 years. What did you do for us? And he was like, you're maybe setting yourself up to be Baker acted. And I was like, if I can humble Deb Goldberg, I can humble you all. You're going to retaliate against me for cooperating with state oversight authorities, and you put that in writing? That's very close to obstruction of justice. Anything else you want to confess in writing? He's like, you're a crazy person. And I was like, well, we'll see if that's what the state oversight authorities say.
That's what I'm thinking the whole time. I'm like, why is this guy putting all this shit in writing? Like, this is all receipts. Like,
it gets worse. And I'm like, I always win, Sean. Always. You think what Judge Sirica, who was the Watergate judge, did to E. Howard Hunt was bad? You have no idea what you're in for. And he was like, when I retired from DEA in 2011, do you know who hired me? And I was like, the same people who Judge Sirica splintered into a million little pieces, the same people who cannot work domestically, the same people who clearly need another church committee. And he was like, do you know? And I was like, I know that and more. And I'll go right to the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, and you know it. And he was like, I guess you don't know who I worked for. And I was like, oh, I do. It's a form of work, I guess. And he was like, who? And I was like, hey, did you know JFK had the CIA's Frank Sturgis arrested in No Name Key in 62? JFK caught him in Interpen trying to go to Cuba after the missile deal. JFK arrested them. Now, tell me again, who do you work for? Do you want to know Sturgis's CIA agency ID number? And he's like, you're deflecting, son. Not very professional of you. And then I was like, SF number 353459. And then I dropped Sturgis's security file from the internal CIA files. And I was like, you would have been at the JM Wave station in the 60s. Don't lie to me, which was the CIA like counter intel station in Miami, which, by the way, this motherfucker has his office right across from the Fountain Blue Hotel, which is where fucking Max Eater and fucking Ruby and Sinatra and all them who were Momo's men down in Miami were running out of. This was Spook City in the 60s. It still is Spook City. Go down there. It's fucking Miami. Do you know the University of Miami is not the University of Miami? It's Spook fucking City. The whole fucking campus was a CIA station for like 40 years. I'm not kidding you.
I don't know, man. It's a pretty big campus. I've known a few people that went there.
Ask them about something called JM Wave. Wave.
Not doing that.
Anyway, so I want to get to the point. So I'm like interrogating him, and he's like, in the 60s, I was a kid in Dorchester. Wake the fuck up. And I was like, I'll get you. Give me a few hours. And he was like, I was like, are you threatening me for cooperating with the FBI? Please make it more explicit for the 302. I can't wait to dive into discovery. I sent you both to the FBI, you fool. And I was like, and now you're threatening to retaliate against me if I tell the FBI about Five Stones? Do I have that right? That's a lot of typing to say the word no, because he kept typing for like 10 minutes. He was like, no, please do. And I was like, you never told me to go to the FBI about Five Stones pressuring criminal defendants to plead guilty. You threatened me with retaliation if I did so. And so anyway, he was like, we get back to it later. And I'm like, did you work with David Tinsley at DEA? And he was like, never. He was in different divisions, which is not true. They were both on the Columbia desk.
But he never heard of him.
Right. And then I'm like, who was your biggest fish together? And he was like, together. And I was like, you sure it wasn't the Columbia desk? The Cali cartel are fuckers. And he was like, nope. And I was like, I'm laughing at all of you. And then he was like, when did I go to Columbia? You're all wet. And I was like, when were you on the Columbia desk? Right around the time that big fish from the Cali cartel went down. How'd you guys exfiltrate him again? And he says, I was in theater, never a desk guy. And I was like, oh, you were on the jet? Jesus, that was a fuck of an exfil. Tell me a little bit about the Cali cartel. And he was like, I was assigned to the Andrean region, living in theater, figure it out. So now he's changing his story. He was in Columbia working under Tinsley. And I was like, yeah, so when David ordered that exfil on the jet, that must have been wild.
Right. Does the timeline line up for when he was okay?
Yes. And I was like, how the fuck
Tinsley was in command and
yes.
And he was assigned.
Better.
Okay.
Oh, it gets better. And because read Tinsley's bio on the Five Stones investigation thing. It's not just he was on Columbia. This guy was like a money laundering expert. That's what explains the CPAs. But I was like, how the fuck did you get to Peru? Because they flew the Colombian guy out of Peru on a jet, like illegally. And Sean's like, I headed up all money laundering ops. You got the wrong guy. You're batting zero. And I was like, funny, David specialized in money laundering. You guys got 40 million in contracts for that work with CPAs. And he was like, you're fucking crazy. It's all going to backfire. And I was like, why the fuck did your firm get $40 million from the federal government to work with CPAs on money laundering? And he's like, I had one and only one job when I retired in 2011. Figure it out, Grant. And I was like, claim sovereign immunity then. Fuck if I care. And he was like, just stop, okay? You're embarrassing yourself. I really thought you were a serious person, B. And I was like, stop. And then he's like, not a clue. And I was like, maybe I'll be able to help you learn about all this. That would make me happy. And he's like,
stop for a second. So I can't get my head around here is he's texting all of this stuff with you. He's totally giving himself away.
It gets
with everything that he's saying. Right. It's bad, right? What I can't wrap my head around though is why and how is okay. If this 5 stones, if he's a plant from this 5 stones, wouldn't they be really mad at him for being so fucking dumb?
It's kind of like, control your asset, motherfucker. Like, then wait till you see.
Well, that's what I mean. Like he seems like a rogue asset that.
Yeah. So, but I'm not an asset. So him trying to deal with me, like he thinks he's dealing with another like fuckface. Motherfucker, you run that game on me, I'm gonna pick my spot. Did you all not watch the last week? I went on the spot with Dag, exposed the fuck out of her. Went on the spot with Christy, space with Christy, exposed the fuck out of her. I think I did that on a whim. I waited months, gathered my intel, and then picked my spot and kneecapped the fuck out of them. And I was gonna do it to him today. I got all the intel I need. When you interrogate someone, you have to
when did these texts take place?
4:15 p.m. is roughly when the second round started about Tinsley, and it
today,
and it ended at 4:44.
So this is post the shit that he was saying on his channel yesterday.
Yeah, because I was a little sketched by that. I was like, motherfucker, I got serious concerns. And if you've never interrogated someone, bro, you need to know more than them.
I've never interrogated anybody.
So like you play it cool and whatever, but you have to know more than them. It's how you talk. If you say trigger words that imply that you know and you got them bagged, you just are inducing a reaction. That's why he's spilling his fucking guts. He's on tilt. He's not thinking.
Yeah, he's totally on tilt.
I was being methodical as fucking kneecapping him.
Well, yeah, clearly. Like, I mean, I'm trying to wrap my head around why Sean on the Gulf would be so fucking loud. Like,
because I'm,
you know what I mean?
I'm a really good recruit. You want me.
What does he think he's good?
He was trying to recruit me.
But I mean, he didn't.
You can if I turn the DOJ down because I smoke weed, okay, I'm not working for the CIA. No.
Being on cool. Yeah, I mean, being on the glare with 2,300 people total watching between here and Twitter was not on his bingo card. I don't think.
No, he did not. And it's not.
He had to expect that you were. He had to expect that you were going to go on your channel and talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
So hiding in plain sight is the entire game. If you've never studied intel or counter intel, it's fun to hide in plain sight. You think Jason Broyle's son goes by the name Sanchez on Twitter by accident? No, bro. He's rubbing it in your face.
That's his son?
Yeah, they know.
I don't know. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I'm just telling you that Sanchez name is like part of the illusion. How fun is it to know more than other people, drop little hints in public, and then be like, ha ha, that's intel.
For a second. So wait a second. There's generations of Twitter idiots now.
You mean like someone? You mean like
generations? like
you mean like
parents and kids now doing this?
So I've heard it said once that the difference between the mafia and the CIA is it's just 2 different heads of the same dragon. I don't know if you know how the intel world works, but once you're in it for life. And if you want to bring your kids in, they're in it for life. It's intel. You can't, like, everybody in intel is related.
All right. So how does Broyles? So is Broyles a plant as well?
I can't figure out exactly where he came from. It's very possible he did work with the feds at one point because, like, there's just a few hints that Obach is federally connected through a family member, that Broyles may be federally connected. Whether Broyles was federally connected as a source of information because his dad had mob debts back in the day out in like Springfield, and his Broyles would clean the tables to like pay back the debt for his dad. That's like an easy person to make an informant. I don't think Broyles was ever actually an operational agent because he's just such a fuckface. However, I do think Sean was an operational agent, okay? And Sean's the type of person who can go into what's called the private contracting world, set up an intelligence firm, make a fuck ton of money because it's a feedback loop. If you're in the CIA, and you get out, who do you think the contract money's going to, or the DEA? Bro, that is just a loop. The private contractors are former Intel, and then the Intel agency gives the contract to their people. It's a loop. Nobody leaves the Intel world. No, I will tell you this right now. Day one, they sit you down. You do not leave the Intel world. You may retire. You are in it for life. For life. Which means Sean never left. And this is where it gets absolutely wild. All of these people. Koala. Look when Lily first came around.
Dude, that guy is so dumb, dude.
No, not Koala. No, yeah, but set Koala aside. Look when Lily first came around. August of 2024. What was one of the first things she did? Promote Sean. This is an international, well-funded private intelligence agency.
But Lily's pro Turtle Boy now.
It's fake. Just like Christy is not. Christy's not pro Turtle Boy either. It's fake.
Because I honestly can't keep up over who fucking is flipping and who's not. Like, I see shit that people have done, and I go, yeah, I'm not gonna forget that. But okay, whatever. As long as they're all low level. There's the way I would think of it is like this firm. Look at how much money they have. I'm not kidding. Look at their staff profile page. This is not some fucking rinky dinky PI firm. It is a hundreds of millions of dollars. They work for every government you can imagine. The UK government, the Australian government, the fucking German government. They get contracts for everything. Okay, stop. I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying just understand. Let me try to explain my perspective of all this. The way I'm looking at all of this is overall everything, right? You're saying that these people have ties with Tully, Proctor, the DA, all of this shit is all connected with Karen Reed, Turtle Boy, and the social media aspect. There's people planted to control that, right? Got all of that. All of that, right? Hold on a second. Why the fuck are they all so stupid?
Well, because
if this is so goddamn complex, right? They're so goddamn. Why is every one of these people so fucking dumb? Everybody that you're talking about, like I'm talking about from the framing of Karen Reed to now to what you're talking about here. Like, it was the worst frame up in history, dude. Like, the whole thing. We're watching this in trial and going, what the fuck? What made them think that they were going to get away with this frame up? It's ridiculous. So, do you know why, Grant? Explain that, because I don't know if I'm the only one wondering if all of this is so fucking complex and so fucking elaborate. Why is every piece of this elaborate puzzle a fucking retard?
Well, I roll my eyes. Oh, you're using.
Sorry. Yeah. The willfully ignorant.
Two different whys. Okay, the first is, why would they do this to Karen and Aiden? These people specialize in pressuring people to plead guilty before trial. Why would they do this? They didn't want this to go to trial. They didn't want the embarrassment of their investigation being exposed, of Proctor's text going out. Pressure the fuck out of Karen, get people around her who she thinks are her supporters, but in reality, you're just trying to get her to plea. That's why Sean, who was the first person to leak Karen's private text in February of 2024? Sean McDonough. Go look back. Right. How do I know that? Because he leaked it to me.
Okay.
Sean McDonough was the first person to leak Karen Reed's private text in February of 2024. It was the one where Karen's like, Aiden is a risk. How do I know? He leaked it to me. Sean was involved in getting that orchestrated leak from Amy DeAngelis with the Facebook group chat from March of 2020 or May of 2024. Sean pushed that to the prosecutors. This whole operation was to get, first it was about Karen. I don't know who hired them. Seems to be Matt McCabe, because he has a DOD contracting firm. I'm serious. He has a
So
DOD.
you're saying I mean,
I'm not positive it's Matt McCabe, but Matt McCabe has this contract. You can find it through his company. I think it's Elevate. Him and his brother Mike McCabe run a company. They have gotten $18 million in the past 3 years in federal contracting dollars for doing cyber support for Nellis Air Force Base, the Shadow Squadron out there, the 806th Airborne that does recon.
The Shadow Squadron.
They do like so they are the people who reduce the latency between when you push the button and when the kill time happens. They work on kill time latency is what it's called.
Okay.
That gets a little scarier, doesn't it?
Well, the whole thing is scary when you like, if you believe it. I'm just not sure if I believe it yet.
It's in the contract. It's in the, if you look at Matt McCabe's contract from the DOD,
you are explaining it in a way that makes it less and less something to dismiss as too far-fetched.
And I want people to read it. Don't take my word for it. You can go on my Twitter. You can look at the Matt McCabe federal contracting documents, just like I pulled them for Five Stones Intelligence. Matt McCabe's not at Sean's level. Matt McCabe's made like, I think the commit on the contract, which means like the total amount it could be is like 30.
You see what I'm talking about though? Like you look at fucking Matt McCabe, dude.
He's
just
a
look at the guy.
Yeah, I know he's a millionaire. I know. He's worth a fuck ton of money because he gets contracts from the federal government. Okay. And I'm telling you that it makes sense to me that either Michael Morrissey saw the article in the Telegraph in May of 2022 or Mike McCabe or Matt McCabe knew fucking Dave Tinsley or of Five Stones because they both do federal contracting work. Or what I think is more likely is Michael
that was going to be my next question. How do you think Five Stones got connected? Like who recruited Five Stones?
Peter Murphy.
Peter Murphy, Sergeant Peter Murphy of the Canton Police Department, retired.
I think someone in the Canton Police probably did it. That's my most either like a Canton PD connect or Matt or the Norfolk DA. I don't think
to frame Karen Reed.
No, you don't understand. It happened after the fact. So after Karen had been charged, right around when the grand jury was impaneled, when Jen McCabe and Kerry Roberts were getting leaks from the victim's advocate Steve Nelson, where he was calling them his favorite detectives. That make a little more sense now?
No.
Steve Nelson, the victim's advocate, was in May of 2025, maybe June, maybe July, before Karen got indicted, leaking protected grand jury information that he wasn't supposed to give Jen and Kerry, and telling Jen and Kerry in the leaked text, "Oh, you're my favorite detectives."
Okay, so why is Peter Murphy advocating so strongly for Karen Reed?
All right, so I don't know who you asked me who I think the connect is. I don't know it's him. I just have my suspicions. Okay, that's not anything based on.
That doesn't track at all. What I mean
hold on.
Who recruited Five Stones? If Five Stones is the agency that is whose MO is to push people and pressure them to plead guilty, who are suspects in a crime.
Yeah.
So who brought them on?
Someone in the Canton Police. Or related to it. Now that's why I won't go down the Peter Murphy road now. We'll just pass that on. But let me just tell you, whoever brought them on initially, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. Billy Bush loves Peter. I love Peter.
All right. But hold on.
That's going to be a hard pill for me to swallow.
That's okay. We're doing some work hardening. Let me just give it to you straight like this, though. Remember when Morrissey went to the legislature for a supplemental appropriation of $1 million for work on the Reed case and the Turtle Boy case?
Who?
Michael Morrissey went to the legislature for a supplemental appropriation of $1 million in 2024 to work on the.
I remember that. Yes,
it got denied. It got denied.
Right.
What he got was 400,000 of $1 million from the Massachusetts District Attorneys Association. He didn't have enough money to fight these cases. So I think what actually happened was, this is very improper, unethical, illegal, incredibly inappropriate. Michael Morrissey looked for money privately. You cannot privately subsidize a prosecution. So I think it's likely he went to a bunch of people. Probably the money man was the McCabe's, this is my opinion, and said, let's retain Five Stone investigation. Now, you want me to explain to you why I think this was all a setup? What they do is what's called an alternate reality game. In the intel world, what you want to do is build a world around your target. I'm serious.
Sorry,
This-
sorry,
go
I gotta interrupt you because I think in terms of motive. Okay,
Yep.
what's the objective here?
To prevent if you
who was Five Stones? Who was Five Stones recruited to protect?
not to protect, to force Karen and
Why?
eventually
But
Aiden,
exactly. But to
because-
force Karen would be to protect someone else. No.
yes, because of what she would have
Okay.
found in Discovery. Now, what did Karen end up finding in Discovery? That's your answer, Will. You know exactly why they tried to pressure her.
So what I'm saying is I believe Higgins is the one who killed John O'Keefe. I think most of us are in agreement at this point that Brian Higgins was the one with motive, the one who acted on camera aggressively, the one who texted John, "You come in here," right after acting aggressively. The one who lied, threw away his phone, went to Canton PD, lied about why he went to Canton PD. I mean, so
You mean the undercover ATF
How-
agent with
how
federal
come-
contacts?
how
The
has
under-
he not right? How has he not come into play here?
He does. And I
Okay.
think that but to answer your question, think about Alec Baldwin's case. Why did Alec Baldwin's case get dismissed?
No idea. Well, no, because somebody did something. I remember Bev let the same thing go, and everybody was mad about it. I can't remember what it was.
This was way worse than you think. So there were two people tried for the death of the woman on set. The first one was Hannah Gutierrez. I think that was the armorer. During her trial before Baldwin's, a guy from another state comes to the courthouse and tells the prosecutor, "Hey, I have this box of bullets that I sent to the Rust set. This was like from a set, and this was one of the boxes that didn't go over there. Do you want this?" The prosecutor's like, "Go over to the sheriff's office. They'll log it." He goes over there. They intentionally log it under a different case number and hide it from Baldwin. Baldwin discovers it 2 days before trial and gets his case dismissed because of that and other things. But that was the big one.
Okay.
Now, do you see where I'm going? You said to me, "What's the motive?" I'll tell you the why would you ever hire Five Stones Intelligence, which is known in Europe at that time in the UK for pressuring defendants with unethical tactics to plead guilty? Because if Karen Reed gets to trial, it's going to be worse for the state. What did Matt McCabe say? It's going to be an incident.
Again, why did they want? Who were they protecting? If they're trying to get Karen
Proctor,
to plead guilty for something she didn't do,
Proctor,
that either means that they believe that she was guilty and they were just trying to pressure her into pleading guilty, or they were trying to pressure her into pleading guilty to protect the person who actually killed Boston police officer John O'Keefe. So which one was it?
Think like a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. You're not a lawyer, but think like a lawyer. What's going to harm your case the most if you're the state? Anything by the by the police?
I'm talking about before it even becomes a trial, before it even becomes.
I know,
like,
but
why?
that's what Matt McCabe was thinking. If Karen, because that's what his text said, if she fights it, it's going to be an incident. What he was saying was, if she goes through,
So you're saying what makes the most sense? You're saying that Matt McCabe is the one through his contacts. So in my timeline here, based on what you're saying here, let's just paint an imaginary picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jen McCabe hears Karen Reed say, "Did I hit him? Did I hit him? Did I hit him?" She goes, "Hey, look, she thinks that she fucking hit him anyway. Why don't we just fucking like that?" Initially, it was to leave John's body out. People think to say that he got hit by a plow and frame Lucky Law Firm, right? But then Jen McCabe chimes in and says, "I heard her. She doesn't even know. She was so drunk. She doesn't even remember whether or not she hit him.
Just
so
blame her.
why don't we'll just blame her, right?"
And if
So
she
then-
fights it, we'll get her. Yep.
And then Matt goes, "Well, okay, yeah, if she fights it, like."
What does that
we
mean,
could
though? We can get her. What it means is what they did. They hired Five Stones
So Matt McCabe hires Five Stones
to make
brings
sure
Five
she
Stones
pleads.
in.
She never
Right,
fled
and-
because she's the smartest person I've ever met in my entire life. She figured this out. She told Rotten Mango she knew they covered up Birchmore like in 2022. She thought they were going to come do it to her. Karen said that to Rotten Mangoes. She is the smartest person I've ever met. I've never met her. I've been around her. She's never answered any of my questions. She gave me a look one time. It was kind of like, you'll get there, kid.
I think what she meant was that she was worried that she would get killed like Sandra Birchmore.
Nobody knew about Sandra Birchmore in 2022. Karen knew
before.
No.
I think you misunderstood the context of that part of that conversation. I think it was
possible.
she was just yeah, I think she was just reiterating, like, look at what happened to Sandra Birchmore. She was saying that she was afraid for her life.
Sure, but
because if they went as far as to kill Sandra, then they could kill her.
Yeah, but listen to the context of the interview. It was Karen talking about the months between February of 2022 and June of 2022 while she was waiting for the call about the indictment. And she specifically mentioned she thought when they came to arrest her for the indictment, before that, they were going to try to do what they did to Sandra Birchmore to her. She knew in 2022. It's a hint. Well, she's smart. She wasn't saying it directly. It was a hint.
Right.
And I'm telling you, if that's true, then what happened here was Karen. I don't know if she realized. I have a strong feeling because David Yannetti, did you know he retweeted my post about how Kate Peters' September 29, 2023 report to Yuri Buchanan about the John O'Keefe motor vehicle homicide was hidden from Karen in both trials. So I don't think Karen knew it was 5 stones. I think Karen had an idea. She was up against dangerous people, well-funded, who would go to a lot of lengths. She built a movement to protect herself. They responded.
Yeah, I mean, but I just assumed that, she just thought with common sense in the sense that, well, I mean, they're using the court system to fucking frame me. Cops are doing this shit. So who knows how far their reach is? So I would expect the worst.
What no one saw.
You know what I mean?
I guarantee if we asked Alan and David and Mr. Yannetti, Mr. Jackson and Mr. Yannetti, if we asked them, would you have
and I'm not doubting you. I'm not doubting you at all, because Yannetti, when I remember I approached David, there was I was in court when they were arguing a motion. It wasn't it was between the 2 trials, and it was a motion hearing. Mm-hmm. And
we probably said hi that day.
Maybe, yeah.
It was the day you met Ted. It was the day you met Ted Daniel and shook his hand, I bet.
Oh, who knows? I'm not sure. I know that I walked up to David Yannetti because it was when they were talking about how Brennan argued that there was no motion filed for the evidence to be shared in discovery, at which you shouldn't need a motion for that because it's discovery. It's, they have to share that. But he filed a motion on the day of and he filed a motion on the day of Karen's arraignment. And so, and I remember I had just done a stream about it. And I was thinking, like, man, the foresight that David Yannetti had to file that motion when it's already something that
I know what you're talking about.
I had to ask, and I had to ask him. I was like, you filed a motion for something that you're entitled to anyway on the day of her arraignment. Does that mean? And he wouldn't. And before I even finished my question, he was nodding his head yes. And I was like, does that mean like that you saw that they were going to try to pull this shit of not sharing evidence with you guys? He was like, from the very first day,
he knew.
He's and like, I knew it then. The reason there was something afoot.
It took me a second to realize what you're talking about. You were talking about the motion for reciprocal discovery that was made in Stoughton District Court that then came over to Norfolk Superior Court, and Judge Cannoni sandbagged him on that. I remember that.
Yeah, it was. God, I want to say, it was February 2nd was when the February 2nd, 2022 was when he filed this motion. So it was the day of her arraignment.
Yeah, but the real question was when it got bound over, the question of law, I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice, was when it got bound over in, I want to say June, was it like June 10th or maybe July? I think it was June of 2022. When the grand jury indicted, it was a question of, did that order from the judge in Stoughton District Court come up to the Superior Court? It did. By the way, there's another issue there, Will. Rule 14 got updated on March 1st of 2025. That's what changed the whole game. It imposed backwards looking, heightened reciprocal discovery obligations. You should read the reporter's note to the new Rule 14. I love it. But anyway, the point is that's where all this chaos is coming from. Because, and to circle back here, I don't think back in 2022, under the way Rule 14 was written, anyone who was working on this plot was thinking about reciprocal discovery. I thought this was just Kate Peter and Marty Kraft. It's not. I was totally missing the forest through the trees because of my own confirmation bias. They're part of it. What this really was like Morrissey saying to Five Stones Intelligence, how can we like get people around Karen? How can we get people eventually around Aiden? And then we'll just use that as pressure so that they won't take these cases to fruition. Now, if you look at the UK model, what they did with the SFO, it's very similar to that. They ran it domestically, though, in the United States. That's the issue. It will, as far as I can tell, this is the first time this has ever happened. Setting aside who did Sean on the Gulf bring into this and when, this is the first time that I'm aware of in American history where a very well-funded, intelligence community connected private investigations firm with international contracts and federal contracts domestically was hired to pressure criminal defendants, and then that information was hidden from them in discovery. We talk about like corruption. This is procedural due process violations on a level that is tough to even conceptualize because there is no equal to it ever. It's like a unique. Now, I wanted to mention to you this, or this, you might say, Grant, why would they think they could get away with this? There's a case called US v. Herring from 2009 in law enforcement. And I don't mean your local cops. I mean like federal law enforcement. There is a technique called parallel construction. Don't believe me? Just Google it on your phone, parallel construction, and we'll tell you what I'm about to tell you. It's a form of evidence laundering. If you're a cop and you want to like get a result or get in evidence, but you don't want to deal with the exclusionary rule under the Fourth Amendment or due process or the Eighth Amendment, you just fuck somebody. Send them into their life. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. Send them into their life. Have them steal the information, whatever the fuck they got to do. Tell me if this doesn't start. We're speaking generally. Tell me if this doesn't sound familiar. Steal the information, give you the evidence. And then you, under the case US v. Herring, can assert the good faith exception and what's called launder the evidence. That's why it's parallel construction. You use illegally obtained evidence in a criminal case. That's one part of this, evidence laundering. The other part is none of the evidence that they're collecting against Turtle Boy right now, they want to use against Turtle Boy. It's all mental games to pressure him to think he has to plea because they think he's afraid of going to trial. It's an operation. So that's why this is so interesting. And I want to finish up because not finish up with the discussion, but I want to bring it back to Sean on the Gulf, because part of the reason I interrogated him was if he ran this operation, which I believe he did, he didn't just target Karen and Aiden. All of these people who are involved.
Okay. When you say ran the operation, what operation specifically do you speak of? Overall, in summary, in one sentence, if you can.
So an operation to pressure first Karen Reed and then Turtle Boy to plead guilty without taking their charges to trial. That's what they were paid to do, in my opinion.
But I've never seen Sean even imply that they should do that.
Right, because what that
you see what I'm saying?
That wouldn't work. If you are out there saying I'm like running an operation, it doesn't work. It has to hide in plain
Well, obviously
sight.
not, sure, but I've never even seen why would I just saw a guy that just wanted to get recognition for nothing.
Perfect cover. Perfect cover. Perfect cover.
But what would be his tactic to get to pressure them into pleading guilty? I don't get it.
So there's a lot of things they describe in the Telegraph article, but apparently what they'll do is like they'll get close to your friends and family and then obtain derogatory information on them and then try to pressure them to give you up. And then what they get from them, they come to you with and then say, listen, we got these people close to you, like they gave up stuff, you have to plead. That's what I got from the Telegraph article, and that's exactly what happened here. That's
so why wouldn't it be there? Why wouldn't it be that easy for them if they're so good at this and they do this all the time? Is it just because it's Boston? Like for the same reason, just because it's like predominantly Irish and people with Irish blood are just so fucking stubborn you can't get them to fucking you know what I'm saying? Like is it that simple phenomenon that you can't get that nobody can get close enough to Aiden or Karen Reed to pressure them to plead guilty to something that they didn't fucking do?
They did.
You see what I'm saying? Like
they
I'm
did get-
trying to
they
I'm trying to
did
wrap
get-
my head out of
they-
what is the
they-
fucking tactic here to get them to do that, because I'm not
they
seeing
did both. They did both. So they did get people close to Karen and Aiden. You know that line sitter guy? I have a video up on my feed of him shaking hands with Aiden. He runs the Miss Grant Smith account. You're going to find he went to federal prison for computer hacking. And now he openly talks about putting Aiden in jail. He fangirled Aiden so hard I was worried he was going to mount him and start riding the dude. All right. I was literally concerned. I wanted Aiden to wear protection. I was like, don't go around that kid. He's going to mount you and ride you. He's a fucking weirdo. But anyway, the point is, I'm not kidding. So anyway, then you go look at this dude, okay, who shook Aiden's hand, sat in the chair for him, was obsequious towards him. I love you, Aiden. You're the best. I want to sit in the chair for you, eat your donuts with your overnight crew. Motherfucker. He's now calling for Aiden to be jailed because he was a plant. Perfect example. Perfect example. They just flip on a dime because they never were true to their beliefs. They didn't just get people close to Karen and Aiden, though.
I just think that these are, right, but I just chalk that up to them just being idiots online who are looking for relevance and acceptance somewhere. Like, these are people who end up doing something really stupid, and then they end up, or they just had this weird behind the scenes harboring disdain for Turtle Boy behind the scenes, and then as soon as they see, like, because I think that that's what happened with like the whole JFK channel. I think that there was a bunch of people who were just like, oh, this Turtle Boy behind the scenes, and then they saw blood in the water with this whole recording scandal and jumped all over it, and then put all their eggs in that basket and like let everybody know
that's what it
always
looks like.
had this hatred for Turtle Boy, and
that's what it looks like, Will. But listen, I'll blow your mind a little bit.
Okay.
Nan Gallagher.
Yeah.
You think it was a coincidence that she was with you at CF McCarthy's and then leaked a picture to Big Red that day? You think it was a coincidence she has a video from outside that's going to probably turn up?
How do you know she leaked a picture to Big Red? You mean Julie Carpenter?
She did leak a picture to Big Red.
Okay. How do you know that?
Sources and methods. And then, but it's more than that, Will. Because
you got to show receipts when you say stuff.
Okay. But the next parts there is receipts for, because you can look at the security camera video from outside.
I know. I was there. She was filming. I know
that video has never turned up. Where do you think it's going to turn up? Nan does persona management online. All right. And if you think about when Nan first came around,
if she does, she's terrible at it.
Look at her website. She says she does it. But my point is, you see where I'm going with this. A lot of these people are just weird characters. And if you're hunting, like, I'll give you a little bit of this. If you're hunting for assets when you're like an agent, like looking for like moles, say like you're in Russia as a US agent, you want to find somebody in Russia to flip on Putin. You're looking for someone driven by ideology, money, mental instability, or disaffected like employee. Those are the 4 perfect profiles for a recruit. You get them, bring them into the fold, you read them in. But here's the important part. You can't control humans, Will. So when you do an operation like this, it's really an operation. You have to know who you can bring in and what's called read in. Trust with the information, because they're going to work for you. Then you have to blackmail certain people.
It just seems like what you're talking about and what you're describing turned out to be a big fucking fail.
Yes. Okay, but here's why it failed.
Like this whole elaborate fucking thing, and all it did was just shit the bed. Because, you know what I mean? Like,
because if people had focused on, wait, where is Mike Crawford back there with you? What are you doing?
I mean, yeah, like for real, it seems like a big fucking fail, bro.
But do you see where I'm going with this, right? It did fail because no one back in 2022 thought that Karen Reed and Turtle Boy could build the movement they did. No one in 2022 thought that the rules for reciprocal discovery were going to change. Have you noticed that it is kind of crashing and burning? All these people.
All right, I'll buy that. So back in 2022, when all this shit was getting fucking spun, they didn't count on all of us getting fucking loud, and then,
or me. or me.
Right. They
supporting
sure didn't.
They
fucking,
do you
and
understand how
Emily not on their bingo card.
do you know how much they tried to control me? And I can't apologize enough to like Mr. Unetti and Mr. Jackson and Aiden and Karen. Like I'm trying. I don't apologize with words. Do you notice? I show you. Okay.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. You know,
right.
I mean,
because they propagandize me. Kate, people keep asking, how did you Grant, you of all people could not have fell victim to this. Okay, there's 3 types of intelligence: analytical intelligence, emotional intelligence, social intelligence. I have analytical intelligence. Okay, a lot of it. You think I have a social intelligence? Not a lot. Okay. Will, a lot of social intelligence, you know, not like maybe Will doesn't study as much as me, whatever, but we each have our strengths.
No, it's okay. When it comes to like, see, I don't even remember what is it? Educational intelligence. Is that what you said? Yeah, no, I don't have that.
So, but
not
how I was manipulated was because of that. I'm good with like reasoning, big picture thinking, building policy. Like,
so you're saying that they didn't try to recruit me because I would have just been like, fuck you. Easily. So
they ran the smear. They ran the smear campaign on you. You went into the smear bucket.
Yeah, I went into the smear bucket. Yeah.
But me, they tried the more flies with honey approach, like get close to him. I wouldn't take Kate Peters' bribe in the Chick-fil-A parking lot. But anyway,
okay.
I don't know if I said none. I don't know if I said that, but I turned down Kate Peters' bribe in the Chick-fil-A parking lot in early 2024. And like once I saw Tully leak Lindsay's phone extraction 2 months after they find out Proctor's phone in February 2024 is going to come out, I'm like, listen, these fuckers are bad news. I just got to figure out what's going on. They had me manipulated, though. They had people all around me telling me like that Karen was evil, Aiden was evil. They told me like Karen like burned down her boyfriend's car or something, like all the shit that was like not true, but they just wanted to like manipulate me. And now, of course, you're like, you fell for it. Yes, I did, but they had like 50 people around me. You don't understand. So then I cut them all out, and then I realized what these fuckers were doing. And to bring you all back, so the Tinsley thing is the key to all of this. And Sean on the Gulf, I know folks like can't see it, but when you hear how this conversation plays out, you'll realize, yes, if you think about everything from the perspective of Sean was faking his support for Karen so that he could get a lot of people around her and close to her so that she could actually be taken down. Now you might say, but isn't it over? It's not.
Well,
you know
let's go back a little while here. So, if you remember, Sean on the Gulf had a straight up fucking meltdown on his channel. I remember, and I can't even remember who I ended up like DMing with about it because like I was like, "Are you fucking seeing this? Why is he doing that? That is crazy." And he had a full on meltdown because Karen Reed would not send him an emoji for his brother dying or something like that.
Yeah, he told me when that was happening that like I should watch the show because it was an act or something. So I thought that was weird at the time. He was like, "Watch what I'm going to do." I was like,
"Well, I don't get the strategy." You know what I mean?
I didn't.
I'm trying to tie that into what you're telling us.
Was that right when he
strategy?
Was that right when he leaked to me without telling anyone the first ever message from Karen? He sent me a screenshot of a signal message from Karen to him in February of 2024. Let me guess. That was right around then. Convenient cover for him to leak. Oh, Karen, you didn't talk to me about my brother. I'm going to burn you now. You're supporting Aiden. I hate Aiden. I'm going to burn.
He kept threatening. I'm going to expose you. Blah blah blah. Like everybody who got mad at Karen at the time was like, "I'm going to expose you," and it was like, "What? You're going to expose what?"
You know what Sean told me? He said the reason he hates Aiden is because Aiden went to a cop's house and that broke the rules. And he said he hated him ever since. So he's been out to get Karen. This guy's a cop guy. He's mad that Aiden went to Proctor's house.
I also remember him having a meltdown about Aiden and saying, "I don't trust your devices. You can't talk to me. I don't want you fucking texting me because I don't trust your devices." And he had a fucking full-on meltdown about Aiden's phones because right after he got out of jail.
Cover to drop derogatory information that Tully and all them already knew. Got to keep up the op. But let me read you the end. Let me just read you the end of this interrogation because this you already heard it earlier, him coming apart. Let me just go right at it. So I said, are you denying you know David Tinsley? And he said, dude, exclamation point, all caps. DEA is a big agency. And I was like, not my question. And he was like, I have never been in Dave's presence. I know a ton of people. I know Jesus Christ. Do you? And I was like, not my question. And he was like, define knowing. And I was like, when did you speak to David Tinsley for the first time? He said, never, ever. See what I mean? Contradicted himself right out the jump, right from the jump. So then I do a laughing emoji and I'm like, you're not even being consistent now. Further, I would expect you to lie to me about operational security. And you know that. So why are you pissing on my leg and telling me it's raining? I found this interesting newspaper article about you, something about an informant and a bus gone bad. And he says, now Brian McKnight, I worked with him as agents, huge difference. And I was like, nope, I want to know about David Tinsley. And he was like, if you don't want to believe me, that's fine. I'm telling you right now, I have never, ever talked to Dave. I've never been in his presence. Yes, I know he was a DEA agent and I knew he had some problems that are not my problems. And I've never been employed by Five Stones and you're defaming me and you're trying to do me to this on purpose. And I was like, I'm just trying to understand. In my mind, I'm just asking you questions.
Wow.
And then I said, could you just tell me about Orlando Sanchez, Kristen Chaco, which was the big bust that happened while Tinsley and Sean were on the DEA Columbia desk? And he says, I never heard of him. And I said, I fell off my chair and started laughing. And now this is the weird part. I just read to you no less than 25 or 30 minutes worth of conversation, right?
Right.
Now, there's been this weird tactic where over the years, Christy, Kate Peter, Broyles would all threaten to.
I don't know Christy.
Christy Citroni is this person whose parents dated, like her mom dated Marty Kraft. She's like she's very close to Kate, pretending to be Aiden's savior so she can work for Sean as well. She knows Sean. Okay. So she obviously doesn't give a shit about Aiden. It's fake. But anyway, so my point is, out of nowhere, after 25 minutes, and this strategy has played out 3 or 4 times over the past few years, these people, when I would like report on Jason Broyles knowing Kate or Christy knowing Marty Kraft or whoever it may be, they would threaten to harm Lindsay. They would immediately like, I'm going to like smear Lindsay. I'm going to target her. Like it was always Christy too, like Christy or Broyles or Kate. And I was like, what the fuck, bro? Like suck my fucking nut.
Yeah. I mean, I remember Broyles doing a lot of Lindsay smearing on,
but the reason I was pissed about it,
Twitter,
the reason I was pissed about it was I was like, you fucking cowards. You can't get me, huh? So you pick on women and children. So I was thinking the whole time it was Kate. Now I know Kate is doing it,
but hold on, Grant. Let's just be real here. I'm gonna cut a left here in the conversation. Lindsay Catani did in fact accuse Aiden of raping her.
But hold on. Let's
you know what I mean?
Yes, but let's move forward to what was happening. Christy at the time and Sean at the time and Kate at the time were claiming to be Lindsay's friends. But the second I would start talking about, did Broyles know Kate? Were these people working on something? They threatened Lindsay. So it's not people who were critiquing her at the time. This is where this, yes. And by the way, I'm not here to speak for anyone. So Will, the reason it's your show, but I didn't jump in because we don't have anyone here who can say X, Y, or Z, and we should just let people like deal with that. We're not them. That's my only point. But I want to read you this because out of nowhere,
it's out of nowhere. It's a big deal, though, Grant. You know, it's not a detail we could just kind of be like, yes, there's a massive credibility issue there.
No, it's not just that. There's a massive manipulation issue there on behalf of Brian Tully using Lindsay and Aiden. All right. But that's why I'm saying don't fall for the artificial divide. Let me read this, though. 25 minutes. You got what I'm saying. 25 minutes later.
No, go ahead.
After not between me and you, after Sean and I. Oh, yeah. By the way, did you know that Kate Peter was the first person to reveal that allegation about Aiden on her Discord server? And then she wrote a blog with 10 reasons why and tried to delete it. Just letting you know, because I think Kate Peter is working with Sean, too.
Well, I mean, wasn't Kate Peter working with Lindsay at the time?
No, other way around. Kate was kind of like Pam the Scam Friedman.
She was texting with. They were texting with each other. The wasn't it the same night that Aiden got that the night in question happened that Aiden got charged for or got his bail revoked for?
Yeah, so I've often heard it said in wrestling, which I love, Will, pro wrestling from the territories. Mid-South is my favorite, but I also like Memphis. Both parties know it's a work. In boxing, like Sonny Liston versus Ali 2 up in Lewiston, only Sonny knew it was a work. Ali was pissed because Sonny owed money to the mob. Neither Lindsay nor Aiden knew it was a work. K. Peter was a handler. So I'm saying, like think about this, because here's what Sean does. Never has done this in years, Will, ever. And then out of nowhere,
So what are you saying? That they blackmailed Lindsay to say that Aiden raped her?
I wouldn't even say that. I would say what happened was there was back and forth between Aiden and Lindsay that was used to psychologically profile each of them, to not just divide them, but to make sure that they would not be able to see what Brian Tully was up to. Like Brian Tully knew Aiden's psychological profile, knew Lindsay's profile, and Kate Peter was assigned to kind of help Tully understand Lindsay. When Tully would go wrong talking to Lindsay, Kate would have to call him and scold him. Then he would call back and be like, I'm sorry. So I'm telling you, handlers. They were both played so they wouldn't see what Tully was up to. The big picture was Karen. And by the way,
Aiden knew what Tully was up to. As soon as he got thrown in jail, he knew.
But I don't think anyone saw no one saw the extent of Kate Peters' involvement as a handler, or the extent of Brian Tully's involvement with some of these other players. No doubt in my mind. Pam the Scam said that Broyles will never get charged. She was basically implying that he's protected.
What would he get charged with?
Whatever, like however he released stuff.
So you're just saying that he has a free get out of jail free card, basically.
At least for Brian Tully, at least until Adam Deutsch gets into office.
Wow. Okay.
But anyway, let me maybe now see why Kate Peters trying to take out Adam Deutsch so hard. I sandbagged her on that a little too. It's not really Kate. It makes me think now it's Sean who's trying to take out Adam Deutsch.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I mean,
because how they're going to sandbag Adam Deutsch. I already got ahead of it. Kate has a recording where Karen talks about how Deutsch and her were cooperating together to get Proctor and McCabe and a few others. And
the whole thing she's doing with Plevin. Right. That bullshit.
They're teasing that, but I already got ahead of it. And the reason I got ahead of it is this wasn't some scam. Karen was an approved cooperating informant, and they're going to get these bastards. And I want them to know that nothing they do is going to take Adam Deutsch out of that race, and they should stop fucking with that race. Pissing me the fuck off.
Oh, I mean, the Deutsch has already won. Like,
he already won. It's over.
Every Karen Reed supporter, every Turtle Boy supporter. I mean,
I heard some of the field polls. He's
like, I'm in Tennessee and I'm endorsing the guy. Like, I'm promoting the guy. It's crazy.
He's polling in the field at 96%. Unheard of.
Wow.
So, let me get.
Everyone hates Morrissey. Everyone hates Morrissey.
It's not just that. Adam Deutsch is going to go in there, get access to their internal files, and then you're going to see like a federal state task force go after some of these people.
Yeah,
be inside their
house. At least I hope that. We all hope that's going to happen. All of us.
But to get back to Sean. So after I'm grilling him, remember the last question I asked him was, tell me about Orlando Sanchez, Kristen Chaco, who was the biggest catch for Tinsley's unit that Sean was working on in the DEA. Sean's like, I've never heard of him. I say I fell off my chair. The very next thing Sean says, ask Lindsay, should I release all her texts to me? Do you want to play this game? I can do it. Notice the turn there, Will? And I said, wow, are you threatening me because I'm asking you about the missions you worked at DEA under David?
Yeah, he's feeling the pressure for sure from the conversation.
Please put that in writing. He says, do you want me to release the hundreds of texts, which is not even what he has? I have Lindsay telling me about you and others, so he's already lying. Do you want me to do that? What I have is real.
See, that's what I'm saying, is that sounds like all that crazy shit he would spew on his channel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just sounds like the same shit in text.
and he's never done it. It's kind of like meeting Professor Moriarty if you're Sherlock Holmes. You know he's got all those agents out there, but you never see him drop the mask. I finally was like, fuck this asshole. He dropped the fucking mask. So anyway, he's like, what I have is real, what you have is bullshit. And I was like, that was a direct threat you just made on behalf of Brian Tully in response to a question about you working a mission for David Tinsley. And he said, do you want me to release her text? Just tell me right now. Better, yet ask her yourself. And I said, I'm going to release your threat. And he said, good. And let's play. That was the end of it. And then I released that to get ahead of his threat.
Wow.
Because I caught them. I have them dead to rights. And I went to, you have no idea. You have no idea how many state agencies I called. I called the desk line of the FBI agent that I'm in contact with. I'm not even going to tell you all the agencies I called. You don't understand. I worked on the Cannabis Control Commission for 4 years. I worked to reform that agency. I have contacts in the people who monitor how state funds are used in this specific context, and they listen to me. No one believed me. Now you're going to believe me, and I'm mad.
You want to have a little fun?
Sure.
I mean, we got time. Like, you got time, right?
I got until we can go till 9 or so, right?
Right on. Yeah. So what's Crawford's problem with you? Why does Crawford hate you so much?
I don't think there's really a problem. Like, so you know how Kate, Peter, and Aiden worked together for a while until they had a falling out because Kate was like a weirdo fuck.
Right.
Okay, that's putting it lightly. I think she actually like took money from him, according to Aiden or something. I don't know the actual story, but like I take Aiden's version of the events based on everything I know about Kate now. But anyway, Crawford I never worked with. It was more like he ran a podcast in 2017, like about cannabis. And I was a medical patient, one of the first medical patients in the state. Actually, I went to ATG in Lowell on opening day in 2014. And so I'm going to ATG in Lowell. Hold on a second. So I'm going to ATG in Lowell as a cannabis patient. And my caregiver, I had a caregiver as well. My caregiver reached out to me and said, hey, these people like mentioned me in the Boston Globe. I'm worried they're trying to like get me targeted because the medical dispensaries are starting up. So I went to Crawford and I was like, hey, like my caregiver, like I'm disabled. Like I was very sick at the time. Like I was in the hospital getting lumbar punctures. I was like, bro, I can't drive to fucking Lowell. This guy comes to my house. I'm sick. He has a medical caregiver card. Why are they trying to get him arrested? So Crawford like lets me come up there and talk shit. I come to find out the medical dispensaries hired lobbyists who talked to the Boston Globe to try to get this guy arrested by dry snitching on him. Okay. And I was like, oh, these fuckers play dirty. I want to play benevolently. Let's go. And then I got into the game. Crawford and I eventually had a falling out because I went on my own. And you know how it is. Like, you
all right.
You can't outshine the master. But like, he's bigger than me. He's on Howie Carr. Like, chill, bro.
So the, I was just curious about that. Because he had like such a problem back in the day, because I remember Miss Shorty was supposed to have you on and it didn't happen because like he like threw this fit over it. So I was just curious. I've always been curious since that. So like I'm curious as to you. I mean, let's be real here. You went from being totally Karen Reed, is guilty for all these reasons, and now you are absolutely convinced that she has been framed
because of Lindsay Gattani. You all owe everything I've done for you to Lindsay Gattani.
Explain, please.
I saw what they did to her, and I realized they did it to Karen.
Okay.
I don't like people who hurt women.
Okay.
Especially vulnerable women. Karen wasn't as vulnerable as Lindsay, but she has her own vulnerabilities. I have colitis. She has colitis. I identify with her. I didn't believe they did it to her at first, but then when I saw they did it to Lindsay, the reason that I'm here is because of her. So I wish you all would treat her with more grace, because you have me because of her.
I just want to hear Lindsay say the words.
No, I don't understand why that's what drives it. There's no point, Will. There's no point. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you that sometimes people have intimately personal experiences that should be resolved between them. If someone tells you that it needs to be resolved,
Ooh, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that, Grant. I mean,
I'm not.
She publicly accused the man of this.
I'm not going to stand up here, right, and say, I want my mom to come up here and apologize for dating Michael Proctor's uncle. Okay. I want her to, but the reason why
I'm not saying an apology. I'm not saying apology. That is between the two of them. I'm saying I want to hear her say.
I know what you want. I know what you.
That's what I want to hear her say.
I know what you want.
Oh yeah,
that drives the very division that facilitates Brian Tully.
There's a lot of real victims out there that want to hear her say it.
Right, and sometimes people go through real experiences and then they talk about it and then they resolve whatever that is they need to resolve. And people throwing fuel on the fire to protect Kate Peter and Sean McDonough and all those people pisses me the fuck off. I don't think you're doing it intentionally, but show that woman the respect she deserves for helping Aiden. Would Aiden be where he was without her help right now?
I acknowledge the fact that she is helping him, but that for me, when it comes to what she did, is just not good enough. I mean, it might be good enough for Aiden, but for me and for a lot of people who have been wrongfully accused, a lot of women who actually have been victims, I think she owes them.
That woman is the strongest. That woman is the strongest human being I've ever known. And the fact that she was victimized by the state police and people who she thought she could trust came out the other end and managed to help Aiden figure out what was going on and how he was being targeted is a testament to her brilliance. Sean on the Gulf is the most manipulative human I've ever met in my life. And I'm a little bit worried people use Lindsay as a foil so they won't discuss what he's doing. Sean on the Gulf told me that he thought Lindsay needed to get a lawyer. He's trying to get her too to pressure Aiden.
I'm not saying that. I'm not even disputing anything that we talked about today.
Right, but you're playing into it instead of saying that woman has rightfully fought through the fire. Well, you got to see this for what it is, and if you don't, I'm worried you're right there where Sean is, which is trying to get to Aiden by dividing the people who can help him.
I'm not trying to do that. I just think that was a hell of a thing.
So you think it's helpful to alienate me from supporting Aiden by doing this?
Not at all.
That's the effect.
Why would that do that and not the facts?
Because it's what Sean wants. What Sean wants is Lindsay to be the topic of discussion and not him.
Okay, but what you're saying is
it's a foil.
Unless I misunderstood, but you just implied that if I didn't drop the issue of Lindsay, that you wouldn't support Aiden?
No. I said that's the kind of thing that alienates people, which is what Sean wants. I will not be alienated from Aiden over that kind of issue, which should be resolved between them. And
I don't want you to be. No.
I think you're using it to protect Sean. How about that?
No. I have no reason to protect Sean. I'm not in any contact with Sean. I don't like Sean.
Right. So you want to talk about specifically whether Aiden Carney and Karen Reed had people planted around them through a well-funded intelligence firm in order to pressure them, and whether potentially Lindsay was targeted by the same firm.
I'm not saying she wasn't. I'm saying, was she or was she not raped publicly?
And that's something
that should be
something stated. That you want to discuss, because whenever Sean on the Gulf comes up, that becomes the foil. If Aiden and Lindsay can be driven apart, then Sean on the Gulf gets away with it. Or is that what you're doing?
No.
Oh, okay. Because
not at all.
Because obviously neither of us are them. She has her perspective. He has his. Why are we speaking for them? Is that what he wants you to do, or are you just doing that?
Well, no. I'm
then
saying
you shouldn't speak for him.
It's beyond Aiden. Like, right, I respect Aiden. I respect the fact
I agree.
that Aiden has as far as Aiden's concerned, he has enough. He's happy. That's cool. I respect that. I'm saying,
listen. The five stones intelligence topic has brought you to the point where you use this as bait to protect Sean. I brought it out of you. I knew you would do
what.
You want to talk about anything but Sean McDonough working with 5 Stones Intelligence.
We've spoken about Sean for almost 2 hours.
No. As soon as I said that Sean threatened Lindsay because of me bringing up Dave Tinsley, you went right to that. Who are you really?
So you think that that's connected? That it made?
I'm asking you directly if that's your motive.
No, it's not.
Not at all. Keep your eyes open while you say that.
Yeah, Grant, listen to me. I'm not a plant of any kind. I don't follow directions well. Put it that way. It's not possible. I do this because I am a gross underachiever. And this is very easy. That's it.
I thought it was the derogatory information in your background they were using against you.
No, because the fact is, Grant, that it's okay for all of us to have feelings about the things that Lindsay did, and it's okay that it goes beyond Aiden.
But
And that's why I'm bringing it up.
And
It seems more like you're trying to make some crazy shit up about me being a plant to avoid the issue.
Well, you did.
That's
what
what it
did.
seems
You
like.
did what Sean did, though. You would absolutely went after You went after Lindsay. You knew that
I'm not going after.
Hold
Lindsay.
on. You knew that I would have her back. You knew that I would say that was
right.
intentionally brought up. And then,
do you think it's unreasonable?
Well, hold on.
When I
circled back to Sean McDonough and Five Stones Intelligence, you went right back to it. You will not get off it. You cannot talk about that.
Do you think it's unreasonable?
I'm going to say the name Dave Tinsley.
For me to want to hear her
Tinsley.
publicly say that it did not happen.
I think it's absolutely unreasonable for you to speak for her, or for you to speak for Aiden.
I'm not asking on behalf of Aiden.
Were you there?
Were you there? I was not.
Right. So let those people who were there speak for themselves. And the fact
but we're talking,
it's not
we're
just passing
about
judgment. It's that as soon as I said Sean McDonough threatened Lindsay in the same way that Christy and Broyles and Kate did, you lost it. You completely lost it. You couldn't
I
get
haven't
off
lost
this topic.
anything.
You couldn't get off this topic right now if you're
Grant. The only one between the two of us losing their temper is you right now. Okay?
Because I want to talk about Sean McDonough.
No.
Why does that bother you so much? When did you meet him for the
not
first
at
time?
all? We can talk about Sean McDonough, but why are you avoiding?
No.
Why are you so upset that I want that satisfaction?
Because I think
I want to hear her say Aiden Carney did not rate me.
Because I think this was set up to avoid Sean McDonough having to answer questions about working with Five Stones Intelligence. So if you feel that is important to avoid that discussion, I got what I needed out of this. It was a setup. I'm disgusted in you.
Okay. I mean, okay, so he rage quit and left. Now, what will happen in the next few minutes is there will be insane tweeting about me simply because I feel that someone who accused someone of rape, who has not publicly stated that it did not happen, but is yet helping this person who she accused. I think a lot of us are confused about that elephant in the room. And I want to know, did this happen or not? I know it didn't. I want to hear her say it didn't. And I don't think I'm wrong for being that pissed about it. So, again, this is not about me and Aiden. This is not about Aiden. This is about her saying something, and then we're all just supposed to forget that this happened. We're all supposed to forget that there is a shit ton of real victims out there. We're all supposed to forget that there's a lot of people out there that are being accused of things that they didn't do. All right, now Grant's back.
Hello, Will. That was
I'm glad you're back.
That was not. Listen, whatever Sean may be trying to do, Lindsay wants to speak. Okay, so there's not going to be any more of this. If you want to speak about this, let her speak. She wants to speak.
Oh, of course, please. That would be great.
All right, because whatever Sean on the golf tried failed. So she wants to speak now.
That would be great.
All right,
I'd
so I
love to
can
hear from Lindsay.
You're
Please.
okay if I send her the link?
I would absolutely love that. Thank you.
And you are going to promise me as a man that you are not going to offend me.
No, I can't say that what I say is not going to offend you. I
not
can't
like
promise
that.
you that.
No.
I can promise you that I will not deliberately try to offend you.
Not just
That
me,
I can
but
promise
like,
you that.
you know,
Her as well. Absolutely. No,
treating
her as
women,
well.
treating women respectfully is important.
Sure. Yeah, no. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. But no, you have my word that I have no intention here of deliberately disrespecting anyone or offending anyone.
Good. Because Sean McDonough would want that, and I don't.
Oh, I don't give a shit what Sean McDonough wants, dude.
I don't know.
I really don't.
You have connections to Tennessee and Florida. That's a little weird.
Dude, a lot of people have connections to different states, man, and they're big places, dude. I go where I can go.
Yeah, but you'd be.
I'm not going to get into my life story as to how I ended up in Tennessee, but I promise you that at the time it wasn't on my bingo card. But that's where I ended up, and I made the best of it.
When did you leave Tennessee?
When did I leave Tennessee? I still live here. I'm in Tennessee right now.
Oh, no. When did you were from Florida and went to Tennessee? When did that happen?
I was in Florida, and then I went to Georgia, and then I went to Tennessee.
Do you remember the years?
No, not exactly.
But like maybe 2014, 2016, 2018.
I want to say 2011, 2012, I moved to Georgia. Maybe. And then 2018 or 19, I moved to Tennessee.
What part of Tennessee do you live in? Generally.
Well, I prefer not to say, but let's say the closest major city is Knoxville.
Nowhere near Dave Tinsley.
No, I don't know where Dave Tinsley lives. I don't know who. First time I heard his name was when you told me.
I can get you that information.
I don't want it. I don't need it.
What if you live next to him?
I don't care.
I do.
Okay. Now, Grant, you don't find it weird that the reason that when I brought up Lindsay that you jumped to this conclusion?
Yeah, because it followed Sean's threat, so I thought it was a little coordinated.
No, I mean, I would be smarter than that, wouldn't I?
No.
Wouldn't everybody? Like, I've been trying to make this point all night.
No. Do you live anywhere near Cleveland, Tennessee?
I don't know where Cleveland, Tennessee is.
What about 620? No, let's not use the address. But you don't know where Cleveland, Tennessee is? Okay.
I have no idea where Cleveland, Tennessee is.
Oh, because if you're close to there and people find out, that would expose you, which is the point of the question.
Expose me for what?
People who live near Cleveland, Tennessee and say they don't live near Cleveland, Tennessee are lying.
Okay.
So all now.
Well, I would imagine so. Yeah. I mean,
now someone has to find out where you live, and if it's near Cleveland, Tennessee,
I've never even heard of Cleveland. Okay, so I would be lying if I live near Cleveland, Tennessee.
It would be very strong inductive evidence, circumstantial evidence.
Okay, Grant.
It's an art form, Will.
So is Lindsay coming on here?
I sent her the link.
Okay. Is she aware that she's been invited besides you sending her the link? And why she's coming up here? Because I don't want to ambush her either.
I think she's been listening. I think she was mad.
Okay.
Like we're talking about things and she wasn't here, which is what I was trying to say. Like you want me
to okay. Yeah. And that's fair. That's fair.
And then also, like, I have a lot of questions about Sean and the golf. Maybe that's not what she wants to talk about, but like, I have questions about whether she was targeted by that firm too. Were you? If you're not involved with them, were you targeted? What about?
I never heard of them until you tweeted about them today.
You know who I think was targeted? Tommy, Kelly Steffi.
Wait, Tom CPU?
Yeah, I think Kelly Steffi worked for them.
Okay.
Am I hitting a little too close to home?
No, I'm just Grant. Like you're painting this whole wild picture of people that you're naming who I have met and spent time with or have met in passing, and you're saying we're all connected in some way that I'm like
not you.
beyond.
You I'm interested in talking to about, because people's level of interest in the connections can oftentimes tell me where they are in the strata. Like you're either complicit, you're either aware, or you're either baffled. You play a baffled really well, but I'm not sure you're baffled. I think you actually know a fuck ton about all of this. You know all these
I am absolutely confused.
Maybe, but I also think like when I say names like Kelly, Steffi, Tommy, like you know what I'm talking about.
Well, right.
So
yeah, I mean, I know who you're talking about because I've been covering this for 2 years. I don't even know how many trips to Boston and spent time with you guys. Like,
but you play
that's
very good. You're like Jimmy. Okay. You like Jimmy, I think is like Andy Kaufman. All right. Brilliant to have that level of skill, but it's applied.
Oh my God. You realize how much work that would entail, dude. I am way too lazy. I promise you that. That is way too much to put on an act all the time, is what you're saying. Like in the movie The Prestige, remember the guy with the fucking fish bowl in between his legs, and then he faked walking with being crippled the whole time and it was just for that trick for the disappearing fish bowl. You don't know what I'm talking about?
You know what the best trick
that is?
Movie? You know what let me tell you a story, Will.
Okay.
You know the best trick? You know the best trick in that movie?
Okay, what is it?
The one with the bird cage.
The one with the bird cage? Why the one with the bird cage?
Because the bird doesn't live. They just have a second bird.
Well, okay.
Right. So let me tell you a story. You know, the kid, by the way, the very observant kid in that movie goes up and says, "Mommy, the bird is dead." And the mother says, no, it's alive. Look, he has a new one. Or he has one in his hand. And the kid says, no, I saw him die, because he really did get crushed in the cage, and the other bird was just in the guy's sleeve. So to give you a story, though, I'll tell you this if Lindsay wants to come up while we're waiting. There was a young man walking in the woods once, and he came across an old man at his cabin. And the young man thought he would play a little trick on the old man. So he went up to the old man and said, "Old man, I have a bird in my hands. Is it alive or dead?" And the young boy said back to the old man, "I don't know." The old man said back to the young man, "I don't know." So the young man holds out both of his hands. And he says, "In my hands, you can see this bird." And he clasps them and says, "Old man, is the bird alive or dead?" And the kid's thinking to himself, if the old man says the bird is alive, I'll just kill the bird and he'll be wrong. If the old man says the bird is dead, I'll leave the bird alive and show him. So the kid says again, "Old man, is the bird alive or dead?" And the old man says back, "Young man, the bird is in your hands. And you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, hold this case and this history and this fact pattern in your hands." What will you do with it?
Okay. So is the bird alive or dead?
It's up to you.
How is it up to me if the bird's in the guy's hand?
Yeah, it's a closing argument to present to a jury before deliberations. The bird is in your hands. What do you want to do with this precious thing? Do you want to tell this story? Do you want to tell a part of it? You want to kill the bird?
Whose closing argument is that? Did they win?
It comes from Jerry Spence's mock closing argument when he was doing a recreation of the Oswald trial. I would say he won. Pretty good orator.
So it wasn't a real trial.
It was the best oral argument. It was the best oral lawyer of the 20th century giving a clinic for lawyers on how to do a closing argument. If you ask people who like Jerry Spence, if you Gerry Spence, if you ask lawyers about Jerry Spence, they will tell you Jerry Spence was the best trial lawyer of the 20th century. And that was his example of how to do like a really good closing to give the jury the weight and perspective of what they're doing for a defendant. He would have done it different if he were the state.
Okay.
You get my point, though. It's a precious thing to understand everything you understand. What you do with it is your choice. When you have intel, you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. You make the world a better place. You can do really evil shit. You can make money. I like to take all that intel, gather it together, and make the justice system hold itself accountable. I like to let the bird free.
What kind of law are you thinking about getting into? I mean, you just graduated law school, right?
Yeah. You know, I get bored so easily. Like, I don't want to run for office because I would get very bored. I think what I want to do is set up an institute so that crime victims have a completely independent, non-conflicted resource that just fucks people up who fuck with them.
Okay. How would you go about doing that?
Money and connections. There's not a door. There's not a door I can't open. There's not a person I won't talk to. People talk to me, and I say, okay,
Right.
I want to do this. Fuck your victims advocates. They're sellout fucking assholes. I don't believe in your power and money game. Do you understand? Well, let me just.
So you want to create an alternative to the government funded and provided victims advocacy.
And I want to reform the special prosecutor statute so that the DA has no control over the appointment. And then fundamentally, when I was reforming the Cannabis Control Commission, we ran into this big issue with like cannabis companies can't get loans from banks. They can't get loans from banks because banks are FDIC insured and they can't lend to plant touching cannabis companies. So I had like this industry is really big, but I had all these companies coming to me and saying, Grant, like we can't get funding. We can't get funding. Okay, well, I don't have any fucking money for you, but you know what I can do? I went to the legislature and I got a 15% dedicated levy put on the excise tax. And now $30 million a year goes to small business grants with 0% interest and forgiveness for mom and pop companies in the cannabis space in Massachusetts forever. That's what I do.
Okay.
I see problems. I fix them. I don't like the personalities of it all. I don't want to take credit. I just see problems. I fix them. We need to write laws that fix these problems. Everything else is a distraction. I want Sean's firm hauled in front of Beacon Hill to answer questions about how they got involved in this, and I will not stop until that happens.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the way you explained it, it sounds like you're onto something for sure. But I mean, the problem is, you're not worried at all about anyone finding you not credible?
I don't need to be credible
in all of this.
Because
the reason I'm asking, Grant, and I'm not taking a jab at you, I'm just seriously asking you serious questions here. Like, okay. So, like when Karen was being tried the first time, I mean, you threw some pretty outrageous questions at her with some pretty wild accusations too. Yep. And now it seems like you have gone completely the other way. But so my question to you is, aren't you worried that people are going to see? I mean, if those things, you were saying those things, were you lying when you were saying those things? Did you have bad sources? Yep. Were you not privy to being a journalist yet when you were doing that? Were you just too green or?
No, so it would be like saying to like Truman Capote or anyone who does true crime, like, did you figure it out right away? Fuck no. So I was susceptible to manipulation. And let me give you an example. When I was writing on the Cannabis Control Commission, there's a woman named Shannon O'Brien, who's the chair now. About 2 or 3 years ago, one of her fellow commissioners, 2 of them actually, called me on my cell phone and said, Grant, we want you to ask a question at the press conference. Like, this woman shouldn't have been appointed chair. We want you to ask a question about why other people were passed over who were not her. Okay, well, two very powerful state politicians call your cell phone and tell you to plant a fucking question at a press conference. You better, like, what are you going to do? Say no? So I'm like, okay, I'll ask the chair that question. I ask her the question. She gives a good answer. It immediately gets used by those other two commissioners to make a report against the chair to get her fired. Did I know I was being set up to get the chair fired? No. So then I spent 3 years reporting on the story to make up for the fact that I was fucking manipulated to prove what happened. That's what you're seeing right now. If the prosecution had played it straight with me and told me everything, I never would have been involved with this. I never would have covered this case. I would have found everything they were doing disgusting. They manipulated me. They pissed me the fuck off. I reformed the Cannabis Control Commission. I will reform the state police, and no one's going to stop me. I am your ally. Just I get a little bit ornery, Will, because I am in politics. So if you get in the gutter, I'm going to be like, just stay out of the gutter. I want to reform this shit. Not the gutter literally, but like, don't fall for what could be very inflammatory sort of things that are designed to take your eye off the ball. I'm in politics. I want reform. Anything that gets in the way of reform, that's what you're really feeling. It's not the any given one issue. And yes, I do love very hard. But Will, if someone, I swear to God, if someone came up on a stream, it was like, Grant, I have a question. Let's say I was on some other stream, never Kate Peters or like Lily the Kangaroo. And she was like, Grant, I have this question about Will and his past. I'd be like, fuck you. I wouldn't give them the courtesy I gave you.
A lot of the reason why I bring the things up is because I want to give you the chance to explain your credibility, because that's the issue that people have. People have an issue with your credibility, Grant. That's the issue.
Yes,
people take issue with Lindsay's credibility, to be frank. And so
that's what I'm trying to tell you. Sometimes very smart people need time to figure things out. So like, if you go through this process and you end up figuring out what was going on, don't you think you look back in hindsight and you're like, oh my God, that's how I was manipulated. That's how I was preyed upon.
Well, right. And I would love to hear Lindsay explain that, because it's, I mean, a lot of people want to know. A lot of people are having a hard time because people are glad that she's helping. People are glad that you're helping, but we're also like, well, nobody, even if we wanted to, we can't forget the things that we fucking heard you say, the things we heard her say, that, you know what I mean? Like we're trying to get our heads around it. We're trying to,
so this is why I like Emily C so much. Yeah, but this is why I like Emily C so much. Okay. Do Emily C and I probably see eye to eye and everything? I don't know. No, she probably has opinions on the Karen case that are different than mine, whatever. But Emily C has this just like magical way of being like, okay, Aiden, you have this in the past that you said about Grant. Grant, you have this in the past that you said about Aiden, but don't you all see that like you're both basically onto the same thing and you're both very smart? Don't you want to be nice? And then I'm like, oh, Aiden, like you want to come up and talk? Like we don't have to talk about how you like said this or I said this. Let's just focus on the goal. I think that's healthy. Why is growth bad?
It's not. But the problem is that there is, what I'm addressing is what's actually slowing the growth down. Because
I don't know about that.
It's not the kind of thing, Grant, it's not the kind of thing that people can just be like, oh, well, I guess that didn't happen.
Well, yeah, but it's a question of fact. It's a question of fact. It's a question of fact, right? Like say Aiden's charges get dismissed. The 2023 charges because of Kate Peterson involvement, because of let's say Aiden finds out Five Stones did work with Cosgrove. Don't you think it's a little weird, by the way, that Sean on the Gulf was telling me Aiden should be worried about getting arrested because Sean on the Gulf was coordinating with the victim from New Jersey to have the prosecutors there talk to Cosgrove to get Aiden arrested? Don't you think that's weird? Why would Sean be telling you?
Well, I mean, obviously there are people that are trying to get this whole thing is a railroad job.
Sean in the Gulf told me at the hearing last Friday, Aiden was going to be set up to be arrested on the New Jersey thing. Why would Sean know that or say that?
Because he fucking just spews out bullshit out of his face all the time.
Or maybe
You
he's
know what I
talking
mean?
to the people. Maybe Nan and him are talking.
See,
to
that's the
people.
thing is I like
What if they're talking to that woman? What if this is all?
I just
coordinated?
feel like Sean on the Gulf just talks out of his ass on a constant basis.
He doesn't. He doesn't. He plays you all. Like, that's a game, Will. Like, I'm trying to help when I tell you, like, I study some of the files about this. Like, that's intel, pure and simple. Like, it's cover. It's active camo. It's a war. He's just not using guns.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's got a personal beef with Aiden, and I just figured that was just because he fucking had a meltdown, and I mean, it happened in front of all of us. He had a meltdown on his channel, and then Aiden was just like, "Look at this fucking guy! All he's done is fucking talk out of his ass, saying this is gonna happen and this is gonna happen, and nothing happens." And then when Proctor gets fired, he gets to say because he threw enough fucking mud at the wall. That stuck, and then he gets to take credit for it because everyone knew Proctor was going to get fired. Everyone knew that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, no, but that's not even it. It goes back further than that. Sean doesn't like Karen.
Sean was because she didn't send him a fucking emoji because,
or does that sound reasonable? Or he was
no, it doesn't.
Yes. So what's a way more likely explanation? He was never pro Karen. He wanted to get her. That's why he just pretended to cause all this chaos. It's great camo. It's the best camo.
I think he just wanted to fucking get on YouTube and make a name for himself and then fucking talk out of his ass. And then when he was exposed as somebody just looking for clout, he fell on his face. That's what I think happened.
He's got money. Okay. And so the most likely explanation is, did you read Robert Cosgrove's filing from the fall of 2025 in Aiden's case? Where Mr. Betterow was saying,
I'm sure I did.
So it was about the search warrant for Karen's phone. Remember Tully, that video of Tully like seizing her phones but never searching them? Like they went in, they were acting all creepy. Yeah, everybody knows that. But they haven't actually searched them. They only seized them.
Right. But I mean,
so
I don't believe that for a second.
No, they're different because Judge Krupp's original seizure warrant specifically said in writing, no search.
Right, but I'm saying, do you believe that they never actually went through her phone?
Yes, because they're in front of Judge Krupp right now on the search warrant docket. Cosgrove is trying to get permission to search Karen's phone. Now, why is he doing that? Well, if you read Mr. Betterow,
but I'm saying the cops have the phone, right?
Right, but they haven't searched it. So Judge Krupp has to sign off.
But what I'm saying is, I just don't believe that they haven't searched it. There's on paper they haven't searched it, but
no, they have to gray key it first. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. When they got when they got Karen's phone the first time, they did have a search and seizure warrant. Do you know how long it took to brute force with gray key? Brute force means you just try a bunch of passwords. Do you know how long it took to brute force her first phone?
Yeah, I didn't think about that. You're right. They have to break into the phone, and you can track that. You can.
It's in the Tully IA documents. Do you know how long it took them? 7 months.
Right.
Okay, so second time around, they haven't even gray keyed it yet. Hello, Dopey Unleashed. We will play chess very soon. They haven't gray keyed her.
I can hear you. Keep talking. I can hear you. I just gotta step away for a second.
All right, so they haven't gray keyed her second phone. Okay, and the reason why they haven't gray keyed her second phone is that they need permission from Judge Krupp. Judge Krupp's ability to grant that search was discussed by the judge in Turtle Boy's case in December of 2025 at a hearing. Judge Belzeos said that he had talked to Judge Krupp and that Judge Krupp was expecting a ruling on that search warrant, the permission to search, by the end of 2025. We don't have a ruling yet, as far as I know, because I called the clerk last week. They told me they didn't know about any ruling from Judge Krupp. But it's difficult because it's not a regular docket. You can't go to Aiden's docket to get it. You can't go to Karen's docket to get it. It's a search warrant docket, SW 1 3, a bunch of 3s and 1s and 0s. Okay. In that context, I'll tell you right now that the search warrant docket ruling was mentioned by Mr. Cosgrove and Mr. Betterow. Mr. Betterow was the first one to bring it up. And he was like, Mr. Cosgrove is being outrageous about this like search of Karen's phone, and We don't know what he's doing. And Mr. Cosgrove keeps talking about some pending investigation of Aiden and Karen, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Mr. Cosgrove writes back and says this like weird series of if statements. Like, Mr. Bettero's worried about like if Judge Krupp approves the warrant to search Karen's phone, and then if the Commonwealth impanels a grand jury, and then if the Commonwealth decides to indict Karen and Turtle Boy, like Cosgrove tipped his hand as to what they're trying to do, which makes me think this operation isn't over. It's running right now. They want to indict Karen again, but they're up against a ticking clock, and it's why Adam Deutsch is such a problem. How much do you want to bet that the DA candidate Crawford is pushing is actually close to Morrissey? She was the plant. She never got off the ground. So the actual like issue here is that this state police unit has like 7 months max with Morrissey before Deutsch is going to run in the primary in September. That is about enough time to brute force the phone, but the clock is ticking every day. They're not going to be able to get Karen through her phone. So they're trying to get these people around her. Notice the people moving around Karen right now. She's cutting them all off. How much do you want to bet they're all around her to get information as a backup plan to indict her? And Sean's in the middle of it. But Sean can't be too in the middle of it because he pissed Karen off early on. And he pissed her off because he ran a stupid op where he said he was mad at her over a winky face and released her text. She knew that was from him.
All right. Having said all that, one can't deny the very obvious fact that nobody gives a fuck about Sean on the Golf anymore. Dude. Nobody pays attention to him. You know, like so
that makes him so much more effective. That makes him so much more effective.
How?
Because the easiest way when I was doing, and I still get bills passed. When I wanted to get a bill passed, I would let someone else take credit. That's why Koala, Lily, a few others, Broyles, just let other people take credit. Kate, it's easier to do it that way. You can get anything done if somebody else gets the credit. I'm not kidding you,
man. All right.
So he's very good. Don't underestimate that man. He is good. He was trained by the DEA.
I don't buy it at all, man.
It's an act. No, the think about Christy Citrone. You ever look into Vinny the Chin?
No.
Vinny the Chin Gigante. He was the boss of the commission in the 80s in New York. You've got to look into this man. You'll love it.
I've heard the name. Vinny Gigante. Yeah, I've heard the name.
You know why they call him the Chin?
Because he had a chin, a big one.
That's a great cover, but you weren't allowed to say his name because it taps. So, you know. You want to refer to the big guy?
Okay. You got to do that?
The Chin. You never were allowed to say...
like the Paul O'Keefe?
You never were allowed to say the Chin's name if you were in the family. You had to rub your chin. Now, do you know what the Chin was famous for? He would
rubbing his chin?
No, he would walk down the streets of New York in a bathrobe screaming things at people.
That's yeah. Okay. That's the guy from fucking that's the guy from at least the guy in that's where I fucking heard that. The guy from The Irishman, the Scorsese movie, The Irishman, that on Netflix. He was in that, right? Well, at least they used that for one of the characters towards the end of the movie.
I listen to a lot of the taps. Like I study this stuff, so I've listened to
I don't know if they changed his name, but I know that I mean because Scorsese movies are like that. Like they might not be directly based on a mobster, but they'll use different things from different mobsters to describe this one character. Yeah. So
yep, and I'll tell you, the Vinny the Chin's whole scam was he was not crazy. Vinny the Chin was running the commission. He was not running a family. He was doing that too. I think it was the Bonanos, maybe the Gambinos. I don't remember. But the point is, he was running the commission. And he was walking down the streets of New York every day in a bathrobe, pretending he was a crazy person.
Right.
He was running the commission. He was happy to have people think he was a fucking crazy person. Christy Citrone's not a crazy. Well, she's kind of crazy, but she's crazy like a fox. She loves Vinny the Chin. She told me in a post the other day she'd been studying him. She's a Vinny the Chin. Sean is like, imagine if you had like Vinny the Chin and like Big Paul
I
and
don't buy
John.
it at all, dude.
No, listen. It's a combination of like Vinny the Chin's like craziness, like
There's
fake craziness.
no way that
Hold
Sean
on.
is that fucking
Hold
good.
on.
All the way down to the sunburn.
No, yes, let me give it to you.
Get the
So I
fuck
think
out of here.
he's a
Get
little
the
bit of Vinny
fuck
the
outta
Chin, but he's a little bit of Big Paul, and then he's a little bit of John Gotti. You put those three people together, you got Sean McDonough, trained as a DEA agent, moved over to CIA, now doing private contracting, where he does this. He lives it. He's smarter than Kate, smarter than Marty Kraft, smarter than any of these people. He is Professor Moriarty.
Okay.
And the best thing about a Professor Moriarty type is you can look him right in the eye and you would never know.
I call bullshit.
I'm
I call fuck.
I'm going to be right in the end.
I hope you are, actually, because that shit, dude, honestly, the fucking greatest ending to this movie is Grant Smith Ellis was right about everything.
No.
That is the fucking, but
That's not what I want. That's not what I care about. Do you understand? I would be, and I want to make a point about this. I will just fit you all will not see me doing victory laps, even if I'm 100% right. I'm happy that I got this 5 Stones intelligence thing right. I want a Pulitzer for it. I was kind of kidding, but my point is, I'm trying to make a point. I have to make a point that there is someone willing to do this at a loss, who doesn't want a deal, who doesn't want a documentary, doesn't want to film. I understand those are great things. I want you all to thrive and have wonderful lives. Someone has to just do it pure, just for the principle. That's the
well, I'm
point.
not saying that you would. I didn't say nothing about you getting a victory lap. I'm just saying I want to see the end of the movie where Grant was right.
Right,
know?
but I don't want to be in
all.
it. I have to not be in it.
No, dude, you're in it, dude.
No. When Netflix came to me, I told them.
If you're not a character, I'm telling you right now, if
Nope.
you're not a character in the Turtle Boy movie, I am gonna lose my shit.
Oh well,
I'm gonna be so mad.
We can talk about that because I'm sympathetic to Aiden's cause, but we can talk about it. But
I've been saying this, by the way. I'm like, you have to put there are too many fucking. There are too many amazing characters, and you are one of a kind. Where they have to put you in that movie.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but let me tell you what happened when Netflix approached me. They wanted my footage so bad. That production company, Sandpaper wanted my footage so bad. I didn't say it directly, but I kept going to Gretchen Voss and be like, I'm not giving you my fucking footage if Kate Peter's involved in that production. Not because I care about Kate Peter, but I'm not enabling you. They wanted to frame her as the Charlotte of the internet. They wanted to frame her as conquering Turtle Boy. I was like, no, I will not partake.
Yeah, I know that there's going to be this documentary and then this movie, and I really hope that just even as just a side character, man, there should be a whole Grant Smith Ellis spinoff, in my opinion.
No.
You
know what I will take, actually, if anyone actually wants to talk about me in a production, don't talk about me. Have the ending be, and then the Massachusetts legislature took up a special prosecutor reform bill, and this never happened again. And also Sean McDonough had to testify in front of Beacon Hill, and Grant laughed at him.
Well, man, I gotta tell you, dude. I think I am really glad that you are seeing that Aiden's being railroaded and that Karen was railroaded, and I am enjoying your tweets. I'm not saying that I agree with all of it. I'm not. It's going to take a lot to convince me of this theory of yours of Sean on the Gulf. I got to be honest about that.
Yep. I'll tell you, when I stumbled onto the stuff at the Cannabis Control Commission 2023, there were some women there who were being really hurt. And they were somewhat powerful, but they could not talk about it because their bosses kept covering it up. When I covered that, you can find this post, Will, on the Cannabis Control Commission website. Just Google it. Grant Smith Ellis Cannabis Control Commission. They called me a racist. The government,
Who called you a racist?
the Cannabis Control Commission, in an official governmental promulgation, you can Google this, Grant Smith Ellis Cannabis Control Commission constituent post, they called me a racist. I had never been so offended in my life. They called me a racist because I reported.
Yeah, no, that would piss me off too. I don't like that shit either.
Then they banned me from going to their press conferences in 2023. So you know what I did, Will?
What'd you do?
Went to the legislatures, got them together, like 7 of them, to write a very stern letter about a lot of this. I was mentioned in the letter, including my treatment. I went to the Office of the Inspector General, and I got a comprehensive investigation launched into the agency, which I cannot comment on because of what it developed into. I went to the state auditor, and I got her to open up a second audit of the Cannabis Control Commission, forced the executive director to resign, forced the chief of HR to resign, forced the chief people officer to resign, forced the chief communications officer to resign, eventually took out basically half the agency because they did bad things to vulnerable people. And I put so much pressure on them that it culminated in the Beacon Hill legislature taking up a bill that will reform the agency specifically because of what they did. I spent 3 years on it. I did not stop. I told people I would do this. I will do this to you if I find out that you're exploiting the system. Tully's unit did it. Five Stones investigations helped. And now I have a lot of friends in government who are very mad about this, and they're going to rain hell down on these people. I only bring up a problem if it's a serious problem, and then I fix it, and then I move on.
Have you gone on any dates lately, Grant?
No sex, no drinking, no GABAergics in the intel world. Makes you vulnerable. Could I? Sure. Do I? No.
Okay, so you remain abstinent by choice, no alcohol, and what else did you say?
Like, I wanted to be a Jesuit priest. Like, once you hear the call to become a priest, you're not really going to be interested in temporal pleasures. So, like weed, water, Gatorade, cheese pizza, I'm fine. I have no urges.
Okay.
Of any kind.
No urges, huh?
None. I love people, but I have no urges.
Right on, man. That's when you conquer the once, dude. You know what I mean? Like that's that's what they tell you in Buddhism too. You know, you conquer the once. That's how you get closer to enlightenment. I love that.
Yeah. If you just, it takes a long time. You will be really tested, but if you just get over that, like you won't want it. You just won't want it. It doesn't matter to you, and you just focus only on the goal of what you're working on all the time. There is no distraction. There's no vulnerability. There's no weakness. Do I think everyone should have to live this way? No. That's what the movie V for Vendetta was trying to say about Evie. So don't fuck with my Evie.
Yeah, I feel that, dude. I respect that, actually. It's good shit. Women complicate things too, dude. You know?
But it's not like that. It's more a matter of if you can figure
when you're in a relationship with one, I mean, because then you get distracted from your goals.
It's women,
you know what I
it's
mean?
It's women and men. So if you're a woman and they want to target you with like this kind of operation, they'll put a man in your life. Like, it's just the fact that sex is oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin. GABAergics. So what I'm really getting at is I try not to do anything that loosens my social inhibitions. The GABA1 receptor is what alcohol acts on and what Xanax and clonazepam and whatever the fuck acts on. When you take those drugs or when you drink, it reduces your GABA1 receptor's ability to function. It makes you more likely to slip up.
Okay.
You'll be looser. You won't be in control of your social. It reduces your social functions, your inhibitions. You're not in control. So I don't do anything that takes me out of control ever. And sex is just dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin by other means.
Yeah, but it's pretty awesome.
So is fucking heroin. Don't do heroin.
Yeah, but heroin kills you. Sex is just, you know.
Yes, some things have a more rough cost benefit analysis, but my point is, for the work I do,
The better it is, the smellier it is. That's as worst as it gets. Pretty much.
if you're wondering, like, why can I remember this all? Why am I the way that I am? no sex, no drinking, no GABAergics. I remember everything. I'm always in the zone. I'm always on point. I never fuck up. I never slip up. I never forget anything. You people forget things. I remember when you forget things and have
Facts.
stories.
You're right. I mean, listen, dude, like, hey, I would probably trade sex for the ability to have the memory that Grant has. I probably would.
17 years and I'm not going back.
You can't argue with that. Like, the homeboy's like, I don't do this, I don't do that, and I don't do this, but look what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't do that shit. I can't put the attention into the shit that you do at all.
That's why I love when people mock me for it, because I'm like, I don't think like you're underestimating me. Please just do, like, don't focus on the man behind the curtain. Keep underestimating me.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, yeah. I love that. It's better to be underestimated.
But I also want to say, like, I don't want anyone to sit here and think that I am saying or I'm extolling this or telling you to live this way. I say this on my stream sometimes. Please watch the movie V for Vendetta. Please. Like, the lesson of that movie is that
So long.
Yes, but the lesson is, unless you are Evie walking down the street and Brian Tully fucks with your life, don't get involved in this.
That's a good question. So, like, how come weed isn't one of those things that distract you?
It's not a GABAergic. So for folks who are trying to, I'm not a doctor, but for folks who are trying to,
Not a what?
I'm not a doctor.
No, you said a GABAergic?
Yeah, I'll explain it. So for folks who are trying to understand this, not all drugs are the same. There are some drugs that act on something called the GABA-1 receptor. GABA-1 receptor drugs are like Xanax, clonazepam, whatever the fuck, alcohol. That receptor in particular mediates your social inhibitions. So if you activate it, you will have, like, it's like a truth serum. You will just say, like, drunk man's words or a sober man's thoughts. That's what that means. That's the GABA-1 receptor.
Okay.
The cannabis molecule, well, first of all, it's like 70 different psychoactive compounds, but the main psychoactive compound in cannabis, THC, works on the hippocampus. The hippocampus is different than the GABA-1 receptor. The hippocampus is in the front of your brain or whatever, and it translates short-term.
So you're saying that, I mean, so the reason isn't the reason why you don't engage in sex is because you don't actually want it, and the want is the distraction, right?
No, it's the impact on the brain. So
the impact that sex has on the brain. So you're thinking in terms of like
how my
like a boxer, right? Like if a boxer like has sex before a fight, then it weakens his legs and
kind of. So the way the brain works is you have synapses that fire in different regions of the brain. If you are like smoking weed, it's going to impact how your hippocampus's synapses fire. If you are taking Xanax, it's going to impact how your GABA-1 receptors, which might be in the hypothalamus or something, how that functions. Okay. If you are thinking about sex, it's going to be activating different regions of the brain where oxytocin is produced, serotonin is produced, dopamine. When those regions of the brain are activated, you're not as likely to be like thinking analytically, reading, remembering documents. That takes up space. Your brain is a hard drive. The more you're thinking about that, the less time you have for information. Your brain is a computer. So fill it with what you want to think about.
Okay.
So I never.
Well, what about sex on weed?
I mean, I've done it. It was okay. I think I lost my virginity on 420 like 20 years ago or something. It was cool.
Right on, bro. High five.
It was all right. I mean, it was fine. It was like a drug, whatever, bro. It was cool. And did it a few more times, and then I was like, I'm over it.
So Cherry wants to know, if you don't mind talking about it, you want to tell a quick story of when you lost your virginity?
No, it was on.
I've told that story.
Yeah,
I've told you were not on here before.
No, you can get that I lost my virginity on 420, and then I had sex a few more times over the next few years. I didn't like it. It was a distraction. I wanted to serve God. I wanted to be a Jesuit priest. Now I'm like a priest without a vocation who goes around and solves complex social problems through regulatory and legal reforms. Just imagine a priest without a like flock who can't go to church on Sunday and preach. So he's just like, fuck it, I'll reform the world.
All right.
So why would you want your priest to have sex? That'd be weird as fuck. Like the priests who have sex are fucking dangerous. I don't like those priests. They violate their oath. If you can't trust them to not have sex, you can't trust them to do that job.
Okay.
Just got to have
All right.
discipline. Discipline is very important. You don't have to be disciplined in every aspect of your life, but you want to not be vulnerable. You want to have no weaknesses. You want to work in the intel world. You better damn sure have your fucking ducks in a row. No pun intended. No sex, no drinking, no GABAergics, no Xanax, no clonazepam, etc.
Right on.
That's my closing advice. That's what I've been preaching on social media. If Karen and Ada want to get through this, no liabilities, no weaknesses, no vulnerabilities, no sex, no drinking, no going to the champagne room, no sex in the champagne room. There you go.
So you're saying Aiden, no sex?
If Aiden, listen, I just want to tell you all this. Mark my words. If Aiden Carney could abstain from sex for a year, he would be the greatest force in the United States of America. I'm a little bit concerned.
You might not be wrong. You might not be wrong. That's
I'm telling you.
On that note, let's wrap this up, man. I'm really glad that you joined me, man. I know things got a little uncomfortable for you there for a minute there, but I had to ask it. I want to hear it. I want to hear those words, and I stand by that. But I really did enjoy our conversation, and I really did enjoy having you on overall. I really did, man, and I mean that. I wouldn't lie to you.
I had a great time talking, and it's never personal, Will. Like you have to understand, I'm trying to accomplish something here, which is protect the vulnerable. I want to help Aiden. I want to help Karen, and we're all on the same page. So let's kick ass and take names. Watch what I can do. Wind me up. Let me go.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I love it. All right, people. Grant Smith Ellis, everybody.
See you later, Will. It was a better close and better leaving from me this time. Thank you for dealing with me being on the spectrum and letting me talk. We'll talk soon.
Oh, no, it was my pleasure. Thanks for coming, buddy. Later. I've always liked Grant, bro. I've always liked Grant. Now, if you can have a conversation like that, and let me tell you something, much respect to Grant for getting angry and leaving, but having the balls to come back after that. That took fucking balls. I don't give a shit what any of you think and what you say or whatever. That shit took balls. And that's the kind of thing that I respect in a man. That's the kind of thing I respect in another person. So I'm glad I had him on, and he's welcome to be on here anytime he wants. Because I could have a conversation with the guy. He proved that I could have a conversation with the guy. We can disagree, and we could still have respect for one another. And that's the kind of thing that needs to happen a lot more in this community, I believe. I really enjoyed that, and I hope to do it again. So big thank you to Grant for that. Guys, I love you very much. Remember, it only takes a second to stay safe. Thank you guys for all the support, too. I really appreciate it. Sorry I couldn't reiterate out loud and acknowledge all of them out loud, but I'm really grateful to you guys for all the super chats and the Venmos and stuff like that. Thank you so much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.